Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm trying to find my other intro. I'm trying to find the middle intro. I have it somewhere, and I don't know where. But I don't know where it is, so I can't play it. But I'm trying to have it so that I can just kind of cycle through all of them because that sounds fun. Um 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 I don't even know. I don't even know what to do here, guys. I've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We've got this Sophie Long stuff. I've gotten some new documents, some old documents. People are sending stuff to me all anonymously, which is great. I don't want to know where they come from. I don't care. Let's get the truth out there. Let's talk about what's going on. This isn't about a side. This is about the fact that there's one side that has a weaponized platform to distribute messaging and one that doesn't. So, who am I on the side of in all this is the children. Children are the paramount concern here. They are at the mercy. They're at the mercy of parents and the state. And look, it's bad enough for many people being at the mercy of their parents. Even if their parents are competent, that's bad enough. It's much worse when you're at the mercy of the state with the parents. That is where no one wants to be. No one should ever be at the mercy of the state. And so we are on the side, well, I can't speak we. I say we. I mean I am on the side of the children. I want them safe. I want them cared for. And I want the state to give a fair shake to the parents to determine where the kids go. Now, again, my problem in this case happens to be with one side who is very slyly communicating about the case without communicating about it. So you've got Michael on one side, who is very openly outspoken at the beginning. This is the children's father, and he opens with the brutal video of his daughter Sophie screaming about having to go back to her mom's house where she doesn't feel safe. Okay. Everybody's on Michael's side at the beginning, just about. And then the tables turn. There's a gag order. There's a press release from a PR firm, and it confirms what the law firm says. The law firm who hired the PR firm, their message is distributed then about the GoFundMe being a fraud, a scam, whatever it is. Whether or not it is, I don't know. But I know that where that messaging comes from. And then suddenly the tables start turning. The decisions start going the other way. Public sentiment starts going the other way. And I don't think people actually maybe even understand what is happening in the case as much. And now we're at a point where both parents are technically under a gag order and have been since January 28th. But the interesting thing is one party's messaging seems to be getting through and persisting. That would be, I don't need to be coy on this. That's Kelly's. Kelly's messaging seems to be getting through and persisting. And the interesting thing is, to me, now this is not a legal take. And by the way, what's up, Memology? There in the chat. How you doing? Okay. And if you're not checking out memology stuff, guys, you really should be. Good dude, good channel, great edited content. Like I'm sitting here going, how the hell does this guy do this all the time? Anyway, that's a separate thing. Okay, back to this. So this is not a legal take. This is not a legal opinion. This is not anything like that. This is a personal opinion, because I know some dummy out there is going to be like, he's wrong. It's like, I'm not wrong on this. This is not a legal matter. This is an opinion. I'm not claiming that Kelly Long is violating the gag order. I'm not claiming that. However, I find it very interesting that a gag order can go in place, but one way to communicate something, right? One way to communicate something is to prevent someone else from communicating a contrary position. That's the interesting thing to me. Kelly Long's attorney, as we have discussed, may be involved in the doxing of Ken Jennings, may be involved in the doxing of Spectre. In fact, there's some interesting revelations on that. In that Spectre, I didn't ask his permission to share this, but I'm going to share it anyway because he shared it. He shared it on Live Chat Wednesday. Spectre received a phone call today. I don't believe that phone call was answered, but it was surprisingly in the area of someone who was doxxed in regards to the Kiwi Farms Ken Jennings situation, where the people were okay with doxing Ken Jennings, but then they got doxed and are mad about that. Anyway, someone gave Spectre a phone call. But the interesting thing is, the number that Spectre used is not a number that anyone else should have other than the law firm. Whoops. That's a little bit interesting. So how that phone number suddenly makes it outside of a law firm and into the hands of the public, I'm not going to say that this lawyer is doxing people. I mean, and certainly there's nothing illegal about doxing people. It's nothing unlawful about it, so long as the information was legally acquired. I mean, so Spectre says, he's there in the chat, the only call I made on that number was to the law firm, and the number that called it a few days ago is from the same area code as a woman that whose information has been publicized. So it's interesting. Like I said, doxing it's not something I do, not something I endorse or support. The internet will do what the internet does. I don't participate in it. I'm not good at it. I don't have time to sit and research people and like do that. Like, that's not me. So go whine to somebody else. Believe me, if you were doxxed, it wasn't me, right? Like the Shaggy defense, except it's true. That being said, nothing illegal about it. It's not an unlawful thing. It's just distasteful. So, with all of that, it just furthers my suspicion that the lawyer may have been involved in Ken Jennings' termination in some way. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't. So that's not like code for, I have no idea. I literally don't know. But I do find the random appearance of Spectre's number to be a little suspect. Find the timing of Kem Jennings' doxing to be a little suspect. But as it stands, don't know. What my ultimate point in all this is, where I was going with this. To me, if you're not supposed to be able to put forth and participate in a social media narrative, right? To me, the idea of threatening and taking down people who have a contrary position to you on social media is not necessarily a violation of the letter of the order. But it certainly raises questions about the spirit of the order. And I'm not a big fan of people who do these sort of things. And I think just the nature of having a PR firm involved in this. I mean, this whole thing that Michael may be in Argentina or Colorado or Mexico or whatever. Do you know where that comes from, right? It comes from the missing persons report. The one that was likely crafted by the law firm or the PR firm. That one. It's a narrative. It's a narrative. And so many people don't seem to realize that narrative matters a whole lot in a public case. And that narrative is being controlled by one side, and the other side doesn't have access to any sort of narrative change. Now, I'm not here to be the voice of Michael. I don't know Michael, never talked to Michael. All I got are some documents from this case. And these are not favorable to Michael or anything like that. So that's not it. But I am going to keep talking about the narrative that surrounds this case. And I'm going to keep digging. And I'm not going to stop digging. We're going to get to the bottom of who Jake Bellington is. That's Kelly Long's boyfriend, by the way, whom the kids are ordered to have no contact with, whom it appears Kelly Long violated an order to have the kids have contact with, and then one of the children was injured, and she didn't want to report that injury to anyone because it would then come out that she violated the no contact order. But all of that is out there. It's just one of the many mysteries of this case. But why am I interested in Jake Bellington? JK, my haircut appointment is Friday, so I thank God I get one. Why am I interested in Jake Bellington? This is the question. And I've got the answer. Where's the money for this case coming from? Where's the money from this case coming from? How does a entry-level white-collar worker in an HR department or whatever, how do they afford 6 figures of legal work a year? How do they pay for it? How do they afford that? What are they actually after in stopping people from talking about stuff that's a year old? Stuff that I got a hair hanging down apparently. Why are they so concerned about documents from a year ago? Oh, it's a children's private. The Daily Mail, by the way, has these documents. Daily Mail's published some of them. I could show you. There's an article right here. But notice the context in which they're published. That's going to be critical because the context in which they're published comports with the press release narrative. Daily Mail. Exclusive. Wherever Sophie is, she's safe with her father. Grandfather of abducted 10-year-old says her dad had no choice but to take her after he was banned from contact and fears of abuse by mother's fiance. Okay, so this is Michael's father, John, is talking to Daily Mail apparently a couple days ago. But this story is about up here. You can't see it as well, but Sophie Long's father took off with her after the court handed blah 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 blah. So it's weird that the two headlines are different, but that's how they've done it. And this is going to go into the missing persons report here. It'd be really interesting to find out who filed the missing persons report. That would be that'd be good to know. We've got Michael has now taken off with the 10-year-old who was last seen at home in Seguin, Texas on July 12th. He's thought to be headed to Arizona or Mexico, according to authorities in Texas. No, it's according to this missing persons report where it says Michael Long and may be en route to Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Mexico, or Argentina. That's not according to authorities, Daily Mail. That's according to whoever told the authorities about it. So, anyway, we've got this thing in the context of this, but look, here's these things. Here's some documents. We're going to take a look at these. I redacted more out of these documents than they did. They didn't redact anything. I don't see takedown notices going to the Daily Mail, or if they did, they got properly ignored. But anyway, where's the money? Where's the money coming from? All of this is extremely expensive. You want the link to this? I mean, okay, it's Daily Mail. There you go. So anyway, we've got some documents to go through on this Sophie stuff. Like I said, these are not particularly favorable to Michael. In fact, the appeals court has made a rough decision on Michael, but it's not final. It's temporary. So we'll start with that one in just a second, and then we'll get into what is going on kind of behind the scenes. Okay. We'll get into that in just a minute here. And with that, I have an interesting incident report from December of 2019 that we're going to talk about that involves Jacob Wayne Bellington and Kelly Long and several children. We're talking about that incident report. We'll read the incident report and see what's going on. We'll talk about what the resolution of that incident report was and why it is that. And then we'll go into the orders from the court and the finally the thing that Michael is looking to do. Thing that Michael is currently looking to do with the appeals court, not the Mandamus, but he's asking for a stay of proceedings in the underlying court case at the trial court level, where he is getting very unfavorable treatment from Judge Michael Snipes. And so we are going to look at what he's asking, and we're also going to look at the underpinning orders that are going on, and I'm going to explain maybe in a little more depth, because I think a bunch of people out there believe that Michael is currently in violation of court orders. And I'm going to explain legally why that isn't as cut and dry as people want it out to be. Remember, this is all part of a narrative about how this case is going. And that narrative has overshadowed the legal realities and the complexities of family law cases. And they're relying on lay people who do not understand, or even non-family law practitioners, because family law is very, very different from the rest of law. Family law has a set of non-rules. They're any rule can be violated at any time by a decision maker if they just add literal magic words in the best interest of the child. But that's just magic word. It's you could put it into Harry Potter, wave a wand, besto interosto, poof, of childo, or whatever. And suddenly, something that would be unlawful or unjust or whatever becomes justified because someone said the magic words. Family court is terrifying for parents in this way because a judge has the power to strip them of their essential rights to access to their children with a literal magic sentence. And so with that, we're going to look at the orders. We're going to talk about what's going on from the legal perspective here, not the narrative perspective. But the narrative is being propagated by a bunch of people who have been manipulated by a PR firm and I'm going to say it. I'll be this rude. A dishonest lawyer named Laura Elkind. And I don't know if he's dishonest or not, but David Routson. And they get to control the narrative by being very crafty and taking advantage of a gag order that was put in place after the narrative shifted in their favor. And that, by the way, is the absolute best place to be. If you are running heavy PR and you get the narrative to swing in your favor and you then get a mutual gag order, you have just ensured that there isn't a narrative shift on the horizon. And frankly, if I have my way, there'll at least be some consideration going on. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. All right, let's hit the chats first. Let's hit the chats at the... My God. I've got a million windows open. A million browser windows. Okay, so this is way off topic, guys. And I'll get honest with you. Let's get honest together. Can I have this? Thank you. Guys, today I did something. I did something I need to talk about. We need to get to the... Again, this is about honesty and integrity. I bought a VR headset and some accessories so I can mess around with VR stuff in the near future. And so I did that. With that, I bought the HTC Vive Pro 2, which is a very highly rated VR headset. I got Steam controllers, though, the Valve controllers, which are apparently better. And I've got the Valve sensors and everything. And so that fun is coming, I guess. Or I'm going to be vomiting all the time. I don't know. We'll see. But with that said, HTC's website to buy the Vive and its accessories is hands down the worst website ever programmed by anybody. I have a feeling all of the BuzzFeed journalists got together. Like they all got together and then they went to go work for HTC and coded this website. That's what it must have been. So that's the best I can figure. It is atrocious. It's garbage. So I just went to pull up my browser for Streamlabs donations, and I had like 40 tabs all related to that website, even though I didn't even know they existed. And they didn't show up on my screen because they're just trash. What a horrible website that was. And the only reason I used it is because they had a payment method on there that I preferred that I couldn't use on like Amazon or whatever. Okay. So that being said, That's all. That's all just periphery. If you want a clean show here, like straight to the point, getting all this stuff and like, oh, it's gonna be organized. It's probably never gonna happen in your life. You're gonna have to deal with my tangents and all of that stuff because, that's the unpredictability is the spice of life. Okay, Andrew War Snowboard. This came in before the show. Says the supervisor that quit and thus opened up the job for me to apply for crashed his plane today. Nobody survived. His name was Brett and he was 56 years old. We lost one of the good ones way too soon. F's in the chat. Dang. That sucks. Sorry to hear that, man. Puggernaut says in the Cosby voice. Oh, God. Can I even do a Cosby voice? Everybody, I'll be attending BlizzCon. Guess no, that just sounds like a drunk. As guest of honor this year, drinks are on me. Zippity bop, bippity doo bop. Would you like to taste my pudding pop? That's a terrible Cosby. That's awful. So there you go. Oh my gosh. I have not heard Cosby speak in forever. So I don't even know how that was going to sound. Okay. Mithrin Emrys says law school done. Bar exam done. Now it's just the wait for scores, which is terrible, guys. Oh God, that is the worst time. It's like, oh, you took the bar exam. That's cool. We'll get your scores to you in like 3 to 6 months. I'm sorry, what? But it's going to be weird having free time again. Keep up the good work, Nick. Also, hi to the stream snipers. Find a better hobby. Good question. Or yeah, good advice. Solid advice. Legal advice. Even though he's not licensed as an attorney yet, that is solid legal advice. Find a better hobby. Scraith says, having a bad day, you too can abandon your team, drop out of a highly coveted position, and still become a national treasure. Simone Biles, the new face of BetterHelp.com. Look, the Simone Biles story is really, really interesting to me for some different reasons. First of all, I actually fully understand and support a top-level athlete not competing, especially in something like gymnastics, when they're not feeling up to it, right? I actually support that because in gymnastics, if you are not 100% and you try and do a thing, you can die. Like you can get really, really badly injured. You can die, all of that stuff. So I support someone saying, you know what? This sucks. I gotta get out because I'm not performing today. Whatever it is, I've got an injury. I'm not into it. Whatever. They should not be venerated or vilified for pulling out of the competition. That is neither cowardly nor brave. It is just a reality of top-level competition. You see this in strongman and weightlifting competitions. Those guys, they could be the championship lift. It could be the championship lift, and they go to lift, and they feel a twinge in a muscle. They don't do it. They won't do it. They'll stop. Too bad. So what if I lose? Lose or career-ending injury? Those are your choices. So they pick lose. So I don't know. I don't know what was going on with Simone Biles or why she pulled out. But look, I'm not going to criticize people who make that decision for that. Where I am going to laugh and I wonder, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I don't care about Simone Biles or U.S. gymnastics or the Olympics this year. I don't care. This is actually the first year that I have completely not cared about the Olympics. I used to love watching the Olympics. Now it's all about something else. It's some other narrative. It's something other than just who's best at sportsing these various sports. Like, I want to watch the best people in the entire world do something I can't do. That's all I want to see. I don't care about your like narratives and your causes and your protesting the country. I especially don't want to watch them protest the US or whatever. Like, I don't care. Do it on your off time. You're there representing the states. Go represent the states. Go do that. Or don't. Like, if you hate the country, oh, but Mashat. No, sorry. You don't get to hate the country, but then demand that it gives you access to the career boosting platform of being a gold medalist. Like, I don't have anything of that from Simone Biles. I haven't seen her do anything or protesting anything like that. And she, spoke out against Larry Nassar, and that guy, by all accounts that I've seen, is a complete scumbag. So kudos to her on that. But that being said, I've seen a lot of stuff about Simone Biles over the past couple months. There has been a concerted push, a very moneyed push to get Simone Biles' name into everybody's head. The greatest gymnast literally ever. Best Olympian of all time. This is how they're branding Simone Biles. And the reason they're doing that is because they have a whole bunch of promos to cut with Simone Biles, right? Shoes, whatever, mattresses. She said, does a mattress endorsements, Wheaties, whatever it is. They are ready to cash in on this girl. They are ready for it. And they have been pumping and pumping and pumping it. And then she quit. And I just want to know, like, from a legal perspective, are there clauses in her contract that punish that? Are there clauses in their representation, their promo stuff that don't allow that? Like, did she violate the terms of her agreement by, like, it's one thing to compete and lose, right? Because even the best in the world has a bad day now and then. Or if you're the U.S. women's national soccer team, you have several bad days in a row and seem to be having just a bad Olympics. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the best in the world. If you're not on, you're just not on. It's one thing to compete and not win gold. It's another thing to withdraw. And so that's the questions I have. I'm curious how they're reacting. I'm curious about that. Because it's really interesting to me. But, and again, I'm not out to trash Simone Biles. She is an extremely skilled gymnast, and she's been to several Olympics, and she's done very, very well. She has moves named after her and stuff. Very cool. Great stuff. And I would never tell anyone they have to compete when they don't feel up to it. Because, like I said, you could literally die if you mess up. Heck, my mom used to do some trampoline, like the trampoline, the sport. And when she had just started out, she had been doing it, maybe like 8 months to a year. She had just a little mistake and turned, and then came back. Like, she bounced, after a new stunt that she had learned. She bounced, she turned, and tore all 3 ligaments in her ankle. All of them, just all gone. The worst possible torn ankle that you can have. And it was the tiniest mistake. And this is at the low level of competition. Like, this wasn't even competitive. That was just recreational. You start talking about throwing, multiple flips with twists and stuff like that. You land on a neck or something like that. You land on a neck on a balance beam, you could die. So anyway, like I said, I just find the other aspects of it. I think some people misinterpreted my tweet because I saw some people kind of disagreeing with me on Twitter, which is absolutely fine. But I think I probably didn't communicate that I'm more interested in how those companies that have dumped millions of dollars already into the pre-marketing to cash in on her performance, I'm wondering how pissed they are. Of course, they're not going to be in public, right? In public, they're going to be, we support Simone Biles, a fucking quitter. That's how they're going to act. Because they have been dumping millions of dollars into ads and news stories. Boom, boom, boom. Best of all time. For 2 years now, they've been doing it. For 2 years, they've been hammering this because it was supposed to happen last year and then it got canceled. They have got to be livid. And then, the Russian team has the Russians in gymnastics, both men's and women's, have been cleaning house. Russia is banned from the Olympics, but the Russians are cleaning up gymnastics, that's also funny to me. So, but yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. And but I can't imagine quitting at the Olympics though. Like from a personal, like if I ever got there, I of course am nowhere near athletic enough to have ever made anything like that happen. But like I can't imagine willingly sitting out of any competition. Of all the martial arts stuff I've ever done, of all of the soccer I ever played, leaving in a competition without being like on a stretcher doesn't jive with me. Okay. Next. Mithran Emmer says, sounds like someone might just need to learn the difference between zealous advocacy and zealotry. Just saying. Yep. Yeah. And then Nikuyasha says, Nick, did you hear about the Japanese president of Katakawa had to apologize and give a portion of his salary back for suggesting the censorship in manga? That's just beautiful. That's the way it should be. That is the way it should be. If you suggest censorship, you know what? Hang your hat up, turn in the keys, and leave. No, we don't want you. We don't want you. If you want to censor things, we don't need you. Guess what? You can be in charge of censoring nothing, and we'll get someone else who doesn't want to censor anything. I don't buy manga. I don't care. If it all got censored tomorrow, my life would be impacted literally zero, except for the people in the chat complaining about it being censored. I would agree with them, but my entertainment is not going to be impacted by that in any direct way. Of course, there could be indirect implications, et cetera, but on the whole, I don't read manga. I don't care if it gets censored from a practical standpoint, but from a theoretical one, we've got to stop. We've got to stop the censoring. We've got to stop it. I should pour one out for Dusty Hill. That's a good idea. By the way, guys, I see a creeper lurker in the chat. Someone who stalks the chat from the edges. And that is Joe Good Logic. If you see him in there, guys, throw him a huge congratulations. While he was on this show, and I take full credit because he was on my show when it happened, his channel was monetized. He finally passed the YouTube gatekeepers, and he deserved it the first time around. I'm glad they wisened up, but yeah. So I'm so glad that he got his monetization. And I did say on my show where he was there that I would email my YouTube rep and ask them if they could kind of kick that thing along and get it expedited. And I didn't even get the chance. I didn't even get the chance to do it. So it was all him. I get no credit for that. So that's awesome. And he deserved it the entire time. And then someone asked if I could get all of the Orthodox Jewish lawyers that I know onto a panel at one time, oy vey. Yep, I'll do it on a Friday night. It'll be perfect. So there you go. Okay. And yes, shout out to ZZ Top bassist Dusty Hill, I think is the name, who passed away. He is gone. A legend has passed from this world. So there you are. Eldon Bainling, type ZZ Top into Google and then finally punch something off on your man card. Okay, here we go. And also, if you didn't notice, I do have some new background elements, so you're not staring at a cream wall. Lady Rackets gave me this lovely painting, which are all bottles from my collection of empties, including the broken whistle pig in the middle. I don't have it set up so you can see because of the bokeh effect, but those are all very favored bottles from a great artist named Eric Waugh who put that together. He's fantastic, and I really like his work. I have several Eric Waugh pieces that I've purchased over the years because he's a good dude. Most of the pieces he does that I have were actually charity pieces. He does them, he auctions them off, and then the proceeds go to a specific charity. And so I love that about him. He's a very outgoing and very giving guy with a whole mess of talent. But yes, and I also have my mini painting station almost ready over there as well for streams with Az. I'll probably actually broadcast from over there. So there's that. All right. Where do we go? Oh, and yes, if you want to see me actually receive this this gift from Lady Rackets, it was we streamed it yesterday. It was my anniversary present. 17 years. Our anniversary. Our marriage is almost old enough to vote. Crotch, there's no depth of field effects in the settings. The depth of field is coming entirely from the camera and the lens. Okay. That is the chats. What is this? Oh, wait. Yeah. 1 second. We're going to do something unorthodox. I'm not going to bring him on screen, but Joe is going to call in to talk about Simone Biles real quick for a couple minutes. And then we'll get to the Sophie stuff. Let me get my headphones on. And I'll patch him in as soon as he calls. Call me, Joe. Joe, call. Literally just call me on the phone. People are asking, where's Peacock? Look, here's the deal. Peacock got a swanky job with a public employer, and so he's not going to be online very much. But his state just mandated the coof jab, so that's what he gets for that. Hey, you there, Joe? Hold on, let me patch you into the okay, give me some words. Okay, hold on, I got the wrong. Hold on, I got the wrong audio thing. I want to get you onto the stream. Here we go. Okay, now I've got you. You've got lots of words for me. Okay.
I have lots of words for you. Yeah, I saw your tweet and it got me like a little upset.
Why were you mad?
Okay, so I think a lot of the hate that Simone Biles is getting, is because we have so much anger towards our athletes who are competing there, specifically the women's soccer team and the men's basketball team, that they're all these woke jerks who are spoiled and don't appreciate the honor of representing us. And we feel like we own our athletes. So we have a real resentment towards the team that's there. She did declare herself the leader of the Olympic team. And now the face of the team basically says, nah, I'm not playing. So we all look at it like, okay, participation trophy girl, and she's evil or selfish. I don't know what the hell Charlie Kirk is talking about when he calls her a sociopath. That's a ridiculously harsh word there.
That's
But
pretty weird. Yeah. I don't,
yeah,
but see, I don't think any of that about Simone Biles.
okay.
Like
So
I was saying, I understand why someone at her level would choose not to compete if they're not 100%, because the risk of injury is, I mean, it's literally could be fatal. So
yeah, there's no net there, and if your brain is not into it, because let's say she got really mind screwed by that jump, that bad vault that she had, and
yeah,
that just played in her head where she's like envisioning herself cracking her neck on a balance beam because that's playing in her head. And imagine, God forbid, if she actually went out there and competed and something tragic happened to her. Like, people talked her into like, hey, go out there, toughen up, suck it up, buttercup, like Kerry Strug did. I mean, and then something terrible happened to her and she broke her neck. I mean, God forbid. I mean, we'd all
yeah.
feel like a bunch of jerks. So,
well, I mean, I would never feel like a jerk. I'm immune to that. Maybe I'm the sociopath.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. And here's the thing. Here's the point that I feel about her. This woman has brought more glory to America than in this sport than any human in history has brought to their country. And I sort of have like, I developed.
I don't know about that.
No Olympian has done what in gymnastics has done what she's done.
Oh yeah, Mary Lou Retton.
Yeah, okay, but Mary Lou Retton had won Olympics. She's got 25 gold. She's got 25 medals.
30.
She holds the world record. 30. Sorry, 30 medals, 25 gold in various competitions. She has been she earned the title GOAT. We also know that she's battled through tough times before when she started off badly and came back from it. So we've seen the mental toughness from her. So there's obviously something else that's playing in her head here. And my take on her is, how like you have a favorite athlete who brought glory to one of your teams? Do you have any athletes like that you like idolized as a kid or whatever?
I mean, I'm not a huge sports person, but I can think of a bunch of Olympians that brought a ton of glory to the U.S.
Okay, but like,
you want me to start naming them?
No, I don't want to start going through. I don't want to start going through like, the
Carl
Michael Phelps
Lewis?
of the world, the Carl Lewis, Michael Phelps, and all those
Apollo
others.
Ono?
Okay, my point about bringing up the athlete jerk is that is that as a Yankee fan, so when Derek Jeter like was basically almost a holdout over a contract when he was like, I don't know, in his mid-30s, and he was demanding money that he knew he would never be able to earn in his play. I sort of looked at it as like, you know what? If you're a superstar athlete and you've delivered gold or trophies and you've given us glory, we sort of kind of owe you. So giving them one contract extra that's a little bit more than what they're worth, to me, I'm like, okay, Mark Messier, for example, it's a little before the time of many of your viewers, but after he brought a ring to the New York Rangers for the first time in 54 years, they gave him a stupidly fat contract for 2 years where they gave him like $25 million, well more than what he was worth at the time. And the idea is we're sort of rewarding you for what you've accomplished. And I think you can say a similar thing here with Simone Biles. I mean, based on what she's done, she earned the spot on that team, even if she sucked.
Even if she wasn't and she didn't suck. She is one of the greatest gymnasts to ever live, and she right now, outside of being, you can't call it objective because she did not win, but leading up to the Olympics, she was considered the greatest gymnast on the planet at the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, but that's the thing. I just find it interesting because they've been. Again, my question is, how do the companies feel? They've been pumping her as the greatest of all time. And the expectation, the literal expectation, the same thing with stupid Megan Rapinoe or whatever in the U.S. women's soccer team.
I hate that woman.
The expectation is that they're going to bring home the gold. And now they don't. And not only does
when Charlie Kirk is like, Charlie Kirk was crying about the fact that Russia won. He's like, now I have to look at these 14-year-old Russian, these 4'11", 14-year-old Russians as the gold medals, all because of Simone Biles.
Charlie Kirk needs to stop looking at 14-year-old Russian girls. That's on him. I don't care about Charlie Kirk though. Like I literally had no idea who he was before I was covering CPAC Live. And they're like, Charlie Kirk. And I'm like, that guy's got a big face. And I don't know who he is.
How
But
do you not know Charlie Kirk?
who
Did you hear Ben
listens to these?
Shapiro? You heard of Ben Shapiro before? You heard of him?
Barely.
You heard of Ann Coulter? You heard of Rush Limbaugh?
Yeah, well, okay. Rush Limbaugh is the Simone Biles of broadcasting.
Okay.
See,
okay.
But he quit by dying.
But you heard of Kerry Strug. You didn't just hear of Simone Biles. So you should have also heard of Charlie Kirk.
Who's
I'm
Kerry
sorry.
Strug?
Oh, shut up.
No, who's Kerry Strug? I don't know.
Kerry Strug is the Olympian who won us gold when she had a torn ankle and she did
that was back in the 90s.
Yeah, and you still remember her. You still remember that her being carried onto the podium.
I mean, I remember Ali Reisman and Nastia Lukin and Michaela Maroney and I like watching gymnastics.
Right.
Normally.
We all do.
So
we all do.
And Michaela Maroney's gorgeous. And I know there was that Sean Thompson, I think. And there was Dominique Dawes. And everybody forgets, Dominique Dawes.
Yeah, Dominique Dawes was great.
There was Dominique Marciano. These
Marciano.
Marciano, she's a cherry or whatever.
And you're mocking Charlie Kirk for looking at 14-year-olds. So
to be fair, when Dominique Marciano was 14, I think I was 15.
Okay. Touche.
So let's calm down there, champ.
Anyway, so I think that the hate that she's getting is really harsh. I'm not saying, look, we're all disappointed. It kind of sucks, but if anyone's earned the pass, I think she has. So that's my take on her.
Yeah,
I just wanted to share that.
I'm not like I said, I'm not criticizing her or hating on her at all. Although I will say though, I mean, if you quit at the Olympics, you've got to expect some backlash, but you have to make that decision. That's a choice that you make.
And that's true. Here's one more point I'll make. She could have claimed a bad hammy. She could have claimed a bad back. But I think there was a certain bravery in basically saying, no, I'm totally healthy. I can't mentally do it.
It would be funny though if she came out with a sponsorship for BetterHelp or something. That would make it perfect. That's what she needs to do.
You know that she allegedly was molested for years as a child by her coach also.
Yeah, well, Larry Nassar. Yeah, that guy. Who's now in prison for 175 years for molesting a ton of those girls.
Right. So, I mean, what I'm saying is she's fought through a lot in her life and accomplished a great deal more than any of us could ever dream of accomplishing. And that's why I'm saying, yeah, it sucks. But, I mean, she doesn't owe you or me anything. Even though she was put on the team, she doesn't owe us anything.
She doesn't owe me shit. I'm not even watching the stupid Olympics.
And she sure as hell doesn't owe Charlie Kirk anything. So, and
nobody owes Charlie Kirk anything.
Anyway, I'm really enjoying your show as usual, and I'm going to let you move on to your next topics. And I appreciate you letting me on here. Just speak my mind with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, take care, my brother.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, there we go. That was Joe. Calling in to share some thoughts before we move on to the Sophie topic. Got a little derailed by some super chat action, and that's okay. All sorts of fun. Marsupial Gamer says, Purity Sin got yeeted off YouTube for no discernible reason. No warnings, no strikes, no explanation, just gone. She was up to almost 100K subs. Not sure what anybody can do about it, but if anybody has contacts, please help. Yeah, I have no idea. You got to get the Keemstar contacts for those. Because I don't know. What did Purity Sin do? She do some gaming of some sort, I think. I don't actually know. Mithran Emrys says, our marriage is almost old enough to vote, and it will in the next elections for the DNC. Oh, no. Okay. All right, let's see. Who... Yeah, to one final thing, I think a point Joe is making is pretty interesting. I'm not aware of Simone Biles bad mouthing or saying any or protesting at the Olympics, right? Like, again, U.S. women's soccer team, I want them to lose. I want them to lose bad. I think it's funny. I hope they lose twice. That's what I want to happen to them because they don't like the country they're allegedly representing. Never seen that about Simone Biles. I have no reason to dislike her or anything else. So, okay, let's start with the incident report. Who is Jacob Bellington? And this is part of the dive. This is part of the dive into. Have you covered the Ronnie O'Neal guilty charge? Yes, but I didn't cover the sentencing hearing yet, which we may do at some point. The women's gymnastics team refused to walk with USA at the opening ceremony as a protest for BLM. Oh, well, fuck them. Then I change everything. I don't care then. No, we covered the hearing where Ronnie O'Neal was not sentenced to death, but we did not cover the hearing where he was given his actual sentence. I blacked out the document. I redacted it. I redacted addresses, phone numbers, and birthdays, and the names of the children. The children. So that's because again, you know the children's names: Sophie, Jake, and Luke. There's also a fourth child, which is the child of Jake Bellington. I don't remember that kid's name. It's a 10-month-old kid at the time of this incident, and that stuff's not important. This is not about them. This is about Jake. So one of the issues that Michael has raised in his filings is the danger that Jake Bellington appears to pose to the children and to Kelly. Now, what's interesting to me is there's this idea about domestic abuse and domestic abusers. And the idea is that domestic abuse victims, I feel like I'm so low in the frame here. I'm rising up. I'm ascending like Jesus of the stream. Okay. Domestic abusers have a hold over their victims. Sometimes it's a physical hold, like a chokehold. That's a joke about domestic abuse to try and lighten the situation. I literally hate domestic abusers with every fiber of my being. I cannot imagine employing violence in a trusted relate, like, not my thing. So the joke is for levity, for me to keep from calling for like jihad. Okay. So deal with it. If you have a problem with jokes, then literally just leave. Okay. So sometimes they have them in a physical, like a chokehold. Other times, but the hold they're talking about is where the victim is afraid to leave. And the victim will then enable, empower, and justify the abuse that they're facing. They will do it. They will say, no, one of my favorites is one of my buddies in college. He's talking to a girl, and, the girl's got some bruises or whatever. And he's like, your boyfriend did that? And she's like, well, yeah. He's like, what? Why are you with him? And she says, well, when he's not drunk or on cocaine or hitting me, he's actually really nice. Great. Nailed it. Winner. You got it. Okay. So, but they end up enabling the damage and violence that's done to them, which is frustrating. which is very, very frustrating. And so let's just take a look at the incident report. So here it is. This is a CPS referral. Incident report in Frisco, Texas. This happened. So people may actually, this is not like a new document, okay? I'm not claiming it's new. This happened on December 27th, 2019. All right? So the suspect is Jacob Bellington. The reporting party is actually Amber Shemesh. Then we've got the alleged victims. These are the children, Jacob Bellington's child, and then the Long children. And then we've got Kelly Long is the other involved party. All right? So, Kelly Long did not report this. Whoever Amber Shemesh is did. I don't know who that is. Don't really care. Here's the narrative from the officer. So we're going to read this first, and then we will move over to the disposition of the incident report, and we're going to talk about what and why this is, how this comes to be. Random 11, I have new documents. This one isn't a new document. Okay, so the victim, Sophie, resides with sibling victim Jake, sibling victim Luke, and sibling victim whoever Bellington, the 10-month-old. And the mother, Kelly Long, and Kelly's boyfriend / suspect, Jacob Bellington. That's if you've got quotes in your name, like you're a professional wrestler or whatever, you don't want to be like Jacob Bellington. You want to have a cool air quote, like a quote name. You're going to be like, Jacob the Biblical Bellington, right? Like, or something like that. You want to come out there with something strong and powerful. And Jake just isn't it. So today is December 27, 2019. There's concern for ongoing out-of-control family violence occurring in the immediate proximity of all children in this home. Jake becomes violent with Kelly multiple times per week. With all the children in proximity, the fights have involved broken glass and thrown objects. The 7-year-old Long kid has attempted to intervene in fighting on at least one occasion. Injuries to the children are unknown at this time. Jake suffers from alcohol abuse. This report was made in May of 2019, and an investigation was conducted. Kelly denied the allegations during the investigation, but has since reached out to an attorney and local agencies to report that the violence is still ongoing. Police recently responded. So back in May, so 7 months prior, she had denied that this is happening. She denied the allegations, but then now she's reaching out and saying that it's still going on. Because shockingly, people don't like to keep getting hit. That's not usually on their list of things to do. Police recently responded to a disturbance, but nobody was arrested. Kelly may be seeking a family violence shelter at this time, but has not yet found anything. An information report was generated under case number blah, 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 where Jake and Kelly were involved in a disturbance. The address for that incident this is the same address where they live. Okay? Lived at the time. I don't know where they live now. They may live somewhere else. It doesn't matter to me. But I blocked that out because it was an address, but it's consistent with the other addresses up above. All right, so here we go. CPS officer, Jody Street. This is the case status, active, and then cleared. So they create the case, they clear it, and then this is an information-only report. So nothing comes of this. Let's read why. Remember, this is a CPS incident report, and the children are not actually alleged to be hit. The children are just alleged to be present while the hitting takes place. And look at this. This is my favorite part of how government agencies and social workers, because CPS are social workers, respond. Remember, like all the time, like the defund the police, get the social worker. Okay, but listen here. MO, mother, is an adult and as the ability to report offenses against her. During the latest disturbance, no charges were filed against mother's boyfriend. No reports that the children have been injured during the disturbances. CPS can provide family services if needed. No further law enforcement action unless requested by CPS. So there you go. Because the report did not come from mom, but rather came from Amber Shemesh, they said, well, you know, mom's a big girl. She can do it herself. That's how it goes. So since this report was, are the children in danger? Now, to me, I don't know that children are necessarily in danger, and courts actually do not decide that domestic abuse of a significant other will impact a parent-child relationship. They don't determine that. So it's a weird thing that we've got here. But we have this report, and they basically said, well, if mom wants to report on it, she can. Look, if mom wants to get beat, she can get beat. That's fine. And so that's where this is. But this is the concern. There's actually a line in here that really concerns me because I've dealt with cases where this happens. The 7-year-old boy attempted to intervene in the fighting on at least one occasion. Turns out, kids typically don't like watching their parents get beat either. So he's allegedly tried to intervene. That puts me at concern because I think I have seen that turn into violence against the kid. And that's the scary thing. Because when an adult's blood is up and they're hitting someone, they're hurting someone, and then someone else comes in to intervene, they don't always have the presence of mind to not be abusive to the intervener when it's a kid. And so that concerns me. And I think this is one of the concerns that there is about Jake. So Jake appears to be fairly violent. And Jake has been a concern for a long time. In fact, one of the big concerns that Michael has and has put down in documentation is that even so after this, and then later, when the children were ordered to have no contact with Jake Bellington, Kelly brought the children to Jake Bellington, where he had I think the J child. I think him had him in a go-kart, and the go-kart rolled and just shattered the poor kid's wrist. So again, mom violates a court order, brings the kid to someone who they are to have no contact with. It results in injury. Mom doesn't want to tell the dad about the injury, even though she has a duty to, because that would then indicate that she violated the order. Now, ultimately, that was all discovered, and the court did nothing. Court did nothing about this. And that is one of those extremely frustrating elements of this case. But that's the way family court can sometimes go. So we will that is just an incident report. I'm going to be looking more into Jacob Bellington because again, I think I have a hunch that this might be the source of the money. And now I'm curious. If this is the source of the money, that would explain a whole lot, wouldn't it? Oh, you tired of getting hit, you want to leave, but you can't, can you? Because your only way to fight for your kids is that paycheck. Maybe. I mean, maybe Kelly's a pile of garbage. I don't know. But it would offer an explanation of something that doesn't make any sense. Kelly Green says, actually, Mom is the moneymaker. Kelly, with all of the respect in the world, Mom doesn't make anywhere near enough money to pay for what's going on. Not even close. Money's coming from somewhere else. She might make the money, but I have heard some things that Jacob may come from a significant amount of money. So, anyway, so we've got this one. This is this document. Now let's go to this is the order. This just came out. It was entered on July 27th. Again, some people may have seen this, but I haven't covered it here. This is an order that is not favorable to Michael, although it's also not that big of a deal in general. Before the court is Relator's July 14th petition for writ of Mandamus. We read that the other day. The writ of Mandamus, the one that Kelly's attorneys are trying to suppress from being released for God knows why. And July 26th, first amended motion for emergency stay. We haven't read that, but we're going to tonight. That's the next document. The petition record and motion contain unredacted sensitive information, including the minor's name and birth date. We strike the petition and the motion and grant Relator leave to refile a petition and motion that complies with Rule 9.9, Texas Rules of Appellate Procedure, on or before July 30th, 2021. We caution Relator that failure to refile the petition and motion as permitted by this order may result in the dismissal of this cause without further notice. So, I think you saw this with me when we were covering it. There are unredacted names in the petition that we read. They've got the full names. To be in compliance, when you're writing a document that has children, minor children, you need to refer to them by their initials. And then you typically file an accompanying confidential information form or something like that, where their information is sealed but available to the court, just not the public. So that is the problem that they've got here, is that the names of the children and potentially birth dates in some of the attachments may not have been redacted. And we know they weren't redacted because I'm going to show you that document. This is the first amended motion for emergency stay of trial court proceedings. Now, this was just struck down. However, I assume it's going to be refiled today or tomorrow with the appropriate redactions. So here we go. So here is the background, and we're gonna go through this. We're not gonna go through the whole thing. There's a couple attachments, but we are gonna look briefly at some of the attachments because they have some information in there that's relevant to the discussion that hasn't been shown on this channel. Now, I know there are people out there who may have seen some of these attachments because the attachments are related to older orders. And if you're one of those people and you're like, this is old news, not to us. And you know why it's not old to us? Because I didn't care about this case until someone started going after the jobs of my friends. And fuck you. catch something horrible like a bad pass from a retired quarterback. I don't care. So the people here are not familiar with those things. We're going to talk about them, and I'm guessing you got them wrong anyway, because I've seen many of you talking about this, and you're all a fucking embarrassment. So we'll fix that. On May 20th, 2021, July 7th, the trial court held a temporary orders hearing on the matter. We read part of the transcript in one of these. And at some point, we may read the rest of it. It was the July transcript There's a whole lot more to it, but I didn't really feel like reading 20 more pages of transcript testimony that day. And the May 20th one, this is like 200 pages. So if I get some time, maybe I'll snip out the interesting parts and get to it. But I like to give things in context or really not dive into them at all if necessary. But they held a temporary orders hearing on the matter. This orders hearing was involving the subpoena to produce Sophie Long, which, again, the subpoena was given to Sophie Long. The Routson law firm screwed up. They screwed up bad, and they're trying not to admit it, but they tried to subpoena a minor in Texas. You can't do that. You can't subpoena a minor. They don't have the capacity to accept or fulfill the subpoena, and their acceptance of it can't be legally binding because they're a minor. An attorney who subpoenas a minor. Now, here's the real kicker. Maybe David Routson did this on purpose because he knew that the judge would then produce a favorable order when the subpoena wasn't proper in the first place. I don't know why he would fumble the ball when he could have just subpoenaed Michael and ordered and made Michael produce as custodian Sophie at a hearing. He could have done that, but he didn't do that because either he's dumb or he's got some sort of master plan that doesn't make any sense. But that's what happened. And people who think that Michael Long failed to comply with that order by failing to produce Sophie at that hearing are simply incorrect. That subpoena was not binding on Michael because it wasn't served on him. It wasn't sent to him. And yes, I have seen a copy of the subpoena. I've seen it. I've seen that it was served. The process server said it was served in person on Sophie, not to a competent adult at her address. That would have at least given it some credibility, but it didn't happen that way either. They literally served the child. The process server in this case should be bonked with a wooden mallet, like a comedic Acme mallet or something. For the process server should know that they cannot serve a minor in this case. Like, how insane. So then, at that hearing, though, what then happened is the judge, and think about this, the judge gets together with the lawyer who failed to subpoena the child and then issues an order to Michael to produce the child at the next hearing. If I'm Michael's lawyer, which I'm not, he's representing himself, I'm not licensed in Texas, I challenge the validity of that very order. That's prejudicial. All the lawyer had to do was write a proper subpoena, something this lawyer has probably done dozens, if not hundreds of times, yet couldn't seem to manage it. So having the court order the production of a child for the wishes of the lawyer without the proper procedure being followed, to me, I would argue, no, judge, if he wants to subpoena the child, he can subpoena the custodial parent to produce the child. Let's let the lawyer do their own work, please. There's no need to have the court involved in this. It was an invalid order. It was an invalid subpoena in the first place. That's their fault. All right. If you just think logically about this, a kid cannot comply with an order, with a subpoena. It can't. What's she going to do? Walk there? She's gonna just make that walk? Okay. All right, here we go. On July 7th, respondent, the Honorable Judge Michael Snipes, sitting by assignment in the 417th Judicial District Court, ordered that a non-party, non-parent have sole managing conservatorship. And I believe that the non-party, non-parent is an out-of-state person. We'll talk about the different conservatorships and what they mean in just a little bit. But I believe they're out of state, which means they would not be bound by the state's orders. They're outside of the jurisdiction. That would be a problem. In Texas, this could actually be a problem if they're in a different county as well. On May 20th, respondent denied Michael Long his constitutional due process by precluding him from the opportunity to testify in a case in which he was a pro se litigant. This is a big problem. No, you can't testify. You can just present arguments. What are you talking about? Of course you can testify. Oddly enough, on July 7th, the court allowed Michael to testify on July 7th, but not on May 20th. Not on May 20th, when they're making determinations about the best interest of the child, they decide not to hear evidence from one of the parties. Again, this is beyond lunacy that this happened. But it's family court, it's custody court, and so the judge gets to just wave a magic wand and say the magic phrase, in the best interest of the child. I guess I'll ignore the due process rights of one of the parties. On June 16th, the Honorable Billy Ray Stubblefield denied a motion to disqualify and recusal of Michael Snipes without due process or a hearing. We talked about this the other day. You are required not to have a recusal hearing, but they are required to have a disqualification hearing. And Billy Ray Stubblefield did not hear the disqualification hearing. Should have. Could have come to the same result. We don't know. But he's entitled to a hearing. By not having a hearing, one, it looks prejudicial. Two, it's just improper. Relator files this motion pursuant to Rule 52.10 of the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. The emergency in this case is amended as follows. Opposing counsel for Kelly Long has filed and received a hearing date for the enforcement of the temporary orders made the basis of this suit. Hearing is currently scheduled for August 4th, 2021. If a hearing is held to enforce this erroneous order, it would be highly prejudicial to Michael Long. Specifically, based on the current motion, it appears that Kelly Long is attempting to enforce the rights and duties of Danielle Hamlin, who is not before the jurisdiction of any court. So here we go. This is another weird aspect of this. Danielle Hamlin is the person who is ordered to have managing and possessory custodianship of Sophie, not the boys. Boys are with mom, which is also kind of mind-blowing. But Sophie has been ordered into the care of Danielle Hamlin, who is, I believe, the biological sister of Kelly Long. Now, the problem with this is that Danielle Hamlin has not come before the court, is not before the jurisdiction of any court, and Kelly Long is filing a motion to enforce this order on Danielle Hamlin. But in theory, it's not in Kelly Long's interest to enforce a non-party's right in this case. Like, okay, let's say Danielle Hamlin is not Kelly's sister. Let's say instead they name Nick Rekieta. Effectively the same thing. They say, okay, Michael and Kelly Long, Sophie is not safe in your care. We're going to order Nick Rekieta to be the sole managing custodian and the possessory custodian of this child. Sole managing custodian in Texas has the sole authority to determine, which means you tend to live with the custodian, the primary residence of the child. So by doing this, effectively, Danielle Hamlin can name anybody other than Michael and Kelly as the primary residence, because I believe the court is attempting to say that neither of them can have Sophie living with them right now. So Danielle presumably names herself. So for me, right, they say Nick Rekieta, and I've never appeared before the court, never talked to the court, I've never submitted to the court's jurisdiction in any way. They just say it. Okay. Then either Michael or Kelly files an order for the court to take the children away and send them to the non-party. Oh, okay. By the way, the person who should file this motion is the amicus attorney. The amicus attorney should be the one filing this motion because the amicus attorney ostensibly represents the interests of the child. So if the amicus attorney believes that Danielle Hamlin is the proper person to be handling this, then the amicus attorney should be filing that document to have that custodianship enforced by the court. Not the mom, because that doesn't make any sense, and not the dad, because that doesn't make any sense. Again, if you just name a completely random person who isn't Michael or Kelly, that's the same in the eyes of the court as Danielle Hamlin. And so Kelly should not be filing a motion to enforce this in this way. It's not in her interest. So here's the service on this. Now, I have redacted the information from this document. Isn't Danielle Hamlin related to Kelly Long? I believe that Danielle is the biological sister of Kelly Long. So let's be real about what happens. Like, this is reality. So there's the legal theory on all of this stuff, and then there's the practical reality. Mom can't see the kids. Her sister, can't see Sophie. Her biological sister has Sophie. Guess what mom has? Access to Sophie. Done. That's the reality. If anybody thinks anything other than that, they're fooling themselves. Crazy town. All right. So here is the motion for enforcement of prior orders. This is brought by Kelly Long. So this is the thing that Kelly Long is trying to get. She's trying to get this enforcement to occur. That's what she's after. She's trying to enforce the orders that are out there. So discovery in this case is intended to be conducted under Level 2 of Rule 190. Movement objects to the assignment of this matter to an associate judge for a trial on the merits or presiding at a jury trial. Movement is a joint managing conservator. Children of this matter are SLJLLL. Like I said, I took out their birth dates. And since this is filed along with his motion, his emergency motion for stay, this is what he needed to redact right here. This court has continuing exclusive jurisdiction of this case as a result of prior proceedings. Parties entitled to notice are as follows: Michael Long, Stephanie Martin, who's guardian ad litem, John Helms, who is the amicus attorney, and a party affected under the order. Let's see. On July 7th, this court signed an order entitled Temporary Restraining Order and Temporary Injunction that appears in the minutes of this court and states in relevant part as follows. The court therefore orders that based on the testimony provided at the hearing begun on May 20th, 2021, for which Michael did not get to provide testimony, and concluded on July 7th, 2021, petitioner shall be excluded from possession of or access to all three children. Petitioner is Michael. Shall be excluded from possession of or access to all three children, including electronic communication for a period of 90 days from the date of this order. On July 7th, this court signed an order. Now, we won't talk about what else is in there. This court signed an order entitled Temporary Orders in Suit to Modify Parent-Child Relationship that appears in the minutes of this court and states in relevant part as followed. On page 11, it is ordered that Michael Long shall have no contact with any child subject of this suit for 90 days following the signing of this order. They left out the part where he's ordered to pay on condition of this no contact order, which may be a violation of Texas civil procedure. Page 12, hiding or secreting the children from respondent. Movement was the respondent, and the respondent was the petitioner in the prior proceedings. Respondent has failed to comply with the order described above. So Michael is here. Beginning on July 7th and continuing each day until the filing of this motion, Michael has failed to surrender the child, Sophie, to the authorities, and based on information belief continues to maintain possession of Sophie. Beginning on July 7th, Michael has hidden the child, Sophie, from movement. Why did I have an alarm set? That was weird. From Kelly, we'll say. Kelly requests that for each violation alleged above, Michael be held in contempt, jailed for up to 6 months, and fined up to $500, and that each period of confinement run and be satisfied consecutively. So she wants him in jail. Wouldn't that be convenient, by the way, for all of the arguments? She wants him in jail for a year. This is what Kelly wants to happen to Michael now. Go to jail for a year, Imagine the damage they've already done to Michael's narrative of the case. Now imagine how much worse it gets if he's in jail. Kelly requests that after Michael serves her sentence for criminal contempt, Michael be confined in the county jail for a period not to exceed 18 months, total for civil and criminal contempt, or until Michael complies with the order of the court, whichever comes first. So an additional 18 months or complying with the order of the court. Now, the order of the court involves forking over something like $20,000 in cash right now. Within what, like 30 days or something like that? So we're going to put him in jail for a year. Then we're going to demand that he be put in jail for another 18 months or cough up 20 grand. Whichever comes first. So 18 months. 18 months. Kelly requests that Michael be placed on community supervision for 10 years on release from jail or suspension of commitment. On 2 or more occasions, Michael has failed to comply with the order of the court by failing to surrender the children to Kelly Long as ordered. Kelly requests that the court order a bond or security for compliance with the court's order granting possession of or access to the children. Kelly requests that the court order additional periods of possession for Kelly to compensate for those periods denied by Michael. Kelly requests that if the court finds any part of the order sought to be enforced is not specific enough to be enforced by contempt, the court enter a clarifying order more clearly specifying the duties imposed on Michael and giving Michael a reasonable time within which to comply. It was necessary to secure the services of David Routson Jr., a licensed attorney to enforce and protect the rights of Kelly Long and the children the subject of this suit. Michael should be ordered to pay reasonable attorney's fees, expenses, and costs. I wonder what those are. I wonder what those are. Wouldn't that be interesting? That's the only thing I want out of the August hearing is how much this has cost. And a judgment should be rendered in favor of the attorney against Michael and be ordered paid directly to the attorney, who may enforce the judgment in the attorney's own name. So he wants it ordered paid directly, not filtered through Kelly, because then he can go after Michael and Kelly doesn't have to. Right? Because Kelly may decide, I don't want to pay to fight for that. I don't know. And then Routson would have to go after Kelly, but she doesn't have any money, allegedly. It's got a ton coming in from somewhere. Enforcement of the order is necessary to ensure the children's physical or emotional health or welfare. Again, the only documented time where any of the children have been injured is in the care of Kelly. Something to remember when she violated a court order. But that being said, the attorney's fees and costs should be enforced by any means available for the enforcement of child support. Oh, this was dumb. Including contempt, but not including some income withholding, movement requests, post-judgment interest as allowed by law. So if the attorney's fees are child support, then they can't condition Michael's seeing them on the payment of those fees, seeing the children. So that's interesting. That's part of the mandamus, actually. Kelly prays that Michael be held in contempt and punished as requested, that the court order community supervision, court order a bond or security, that the court clarify any part of its prior order not found to be specific enough to be enforced by contempt for attorney's fees, expenses, costs, and interest, and for all further relief authorized by law. By David Routson. Now, the reason that was important to go through, and I know going through legal documents can get really, really boring. I get it. I'm a lawyer. I've had to go through too many in my life, and they are all really, really boring. But that being said, it's important to realize what has happened because the narrative right now is that Michael is in violation of the order. But Michael has not been ruled in violation of that order. Not yet. He has not actually been found by the court to be in violation of the order. So if people are wondering, why isn't the court issuing this? Why isn't the court, I guess, ordering further action? Why isn't there an Amber Alert? Why aren't the police picking up the child? It's not because they don't know where they are. I'm pretty sure they know exactly where Michael and Sophie are. I'm pretty sure they do. Pretty sure they're lying about not knowing, or they're doing the lawyer thing like, we know, but we don't know where they are. Like, we don't have actual knowledge. They do know, but legally don't, because Michael didn't tell them or something. So they legally don't know. But the problem is, he hasn't actually been found by the court in violation of these orders yet. And that is critical to the elements of due process that are involved in court proceedings. You may fully appear to be in violation of an order. You may, in fact, be violating every element of a validly given order. But you're not violating the order until you're found to be violating the order. Which seems like a truism, because it is. And so, again, this is narrative. This is narrative. That's why this is going the way it's going. The narrative is being influenced in a specific way. Their documents are written for the press. The press releases that suddenly get a missing persons report placed and then in the hands of major news wires when on a case that hasn't been talked about in a year. That's a PR firm. That's how you do that. Like, that's how that occurs. And let's be very clear. Actually hiring an agent to put out press about a case would be a violation of that January 1st order too, if people really wanted to get into the wording of it, or January 28th, to get into the wording of it, that would also be a violation of the order. So, you've got one side with a media narrative and another side not really able to respond, and that's just how it goes. Can he reach out to the judge? No, he can't do that. That's an ex parte communications. You can't do that. Which pisses me off more, this case or Justina Pelletier? Justina Pelletier. That case is maybe the most frustrating thing on the planet. Okay. Now let's go into Exhibit B. This is the order to appear that Michael is allegedly wait, let me see. Oh no, this is just the order for the hearing on August 4th. There you go. The order to appear on August 4th. Here are the temporary orders in the suit to modify the parent-child relationship. So this is the other thing I want to get into. This is the May 20th order, where, again, this is the basis for all of this stuff right now, is this May 20th order. And it's important to remember that according to Michael and the transcript, Michael was not allowed to offer testimony on the best interest of the child, while Kelly was not only able to offer testimony, but to call several witnesses, including a quote-unquote expert. And this is the problem with representing yourself, is the hearing should never have happened that way. Unfortunately, if Michael can't afford representation, then this is what you're stuck with. And why? I'm not drinking Gatorade. I'm drinking Body Armor Super Drink. This is a very refreshing, yummy drink. You should try it. It's good. But this hearing should have never happened in this way. This order, if what Michael alleges is true about not being able to testify, this order shouldn't have been issued in the first place. So here we go. Temporary orders in suit to modify the parent-child relationship. May 20th, the court heard petitioner's application for temporary orders. Appearances. Petitioner, Michael Long. appeared in person and announced ready. He asked for this hearing. Respondent Kelly Long appeared in person through attorney of record David Routson Jr. and announced ready. Guardian ad litem Stephanie Martin appeared in person and announced ready. Amicus John Helms appeared in person and announced ready. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, Guardian ad litem Stephanie Martin also requested and was granted the ability to cross-exam of Michael in this hearing. Something that she is a guardian ad litem, that is actually against the rules. Only the amicus attorney can do cross-examination. Guardian ad litems are not attorneys in the matter. They may be an attorney, but they are not representative, and they are not allowed to act in a representative capacity, which includes exam and cross-exam of witnesses. So, again, one of the complaints from the Mandamus. It's important to realize, and again, Michael may not win on the Mandamus. Mandamus is a very, very tough thing to get. It is hard. But that being said, what has happened in this case in several spots is objectively bad. It is objectively unjust. And how are we to determine that the court is making proper decisions if they are not employing the rights and protections that justice require? Okay, here we go. So the court, after examining the record and hearing the evidence and argument of counsel, finds that all necessary prerequisites of law have been legally satisfied and that this court has jurisdiction of the case and all the parties. Conservatorship. The following orders are for the safety and welfare and in the best interest of the following children. Court finds that Michael Long has engaged in a knowing or intentional pattern of behavior that has interfered with the relationship between Sophie and Kelly Long. So this is parental alienation. And at the hearing, they had an expert come in and testify about parental alienation. Again, Michael was not allowed to testify at this hearing. The court finds that Michael Long has engaged in a pattern of behavior that has interfered with the reunification counseling between Sophie and Kelly Long that was ordered by this court on or about October 2nd, 2020, in which Michael Long agreed was in the best interest of Sophie Long. Now, of course, Michael protested the person that was picked. They were supposed to agree on the reunification counselor. Michael did not agree to this counselor. Whether or not that's justified, I don't know. But that's his argument as to why he didn't do this. Did he interfere with it? Maybe. Maybe he was obstinate and petulant in refusing to agree on a counselor that was objectively neutral. I don't know. Court finds that based on the evidence presented, allowing the child, Sophie, to remain in the care of Michael would constitute an immediate and substantial danger to the child's physical health and or emotional and psychological well-being. Again, without testimony from Michael, what basis? This is the basis. These two things are the basis for this. Again, they have no evidence that Sophie has ever been in physical harm in Michael's care. The court finds that it is in the best interest of Sophie Long that she be removed from the care of Michael Long for a period of at least 90 days. Why 90 days? If she's in immediate and substantial danger, why is 90 days the appropriate response here? That's a weird ruling. In Minnesota, we would issue a protective order against someone who is a substantial danger to the child for an automatic 2 years. That's where you start. And then those 2 years can have conditions on how to reduce them. Like, for example, something like reunification counseling. So we would issue I'm just speaking for Minnesota. I don't know how Texas does it. All right. In Minnesota, we would get a temporary protective order, 2 years, against the parent who is a danger. And then the magistrate or the judge could say, okay, you have 2 years or until the completion of these conditions. You enter into reunification counseling, supervised visitation, parenting classes, and maybe a drinking rehab program, something like that, right? Like, these are the types of things that you would do. I don't know why they picked 90 days. That seems weird. If he's a danger, 90 days he's not going to be a danger. I don't buy that. Like, I don't buy that. Because if he's a danger now, what again, the government, the court isn't putting conditions on this 90 days. So what makes him not dangerous in 90 days? Seems like one of those orders where they're trying to sneak it in is not too egregious to me, but that's weird. The court finds that it is in the best interest of Sophie that she be temporarily placed in the sole possession of the child's maternal aunt, Danielle Hamlin, and, if necessary, in the temporary possession of the child's maternal grandmother, Kim Mitten. Temporary possession of Kim Mitten because Danielle Hamlin may have to travel in from out of state to do this. And why would this person be a good choice? And again, going with the mother is not allowed access to Sophie at this time. Still, until she completes reunification counseling. So her access has to be supervised by the counselor. The court finds it is in the best interest of Sophie, JL, and LL that Michael Long have no contact with them for a period of at least 90 days. Again, why? Ken says the reunification psychiatrist says dad needs to be away for 90 days so mom can start quote unquote proper reunification counseling. I'm sorry. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. Let me just give you an assessment of that take. Everything that guy said is bullshit. Everything that guy said is bullshit. That is not a thing. In my opinion, it's not a thing. We need to read the testimony. It's really worth it. It's 200 pages. I'm not going to do it right now, Ken. But we'll see. Okay, so here's what I wanted to get to. The conservatorship of... Let's see. Court finds that it is in Sophie's best interest that she and Kelly Long participate in a reunification therapy program. Conservatorship of JL and LL, or Kelly Long is the temporary sole managing conservator. So she gets possession of the boys. Kelly Long has possession of the boys. And Michael Long is temporary possessory conservator who does not have any it's interesting that's possessory conservator, but they don't actually have possession. They get access to some information and stuff like that, but that does not mean that they have actual custody. So Kelly is a parent. We're not going to read through all this. This is their rights and of each of them. Ordered that at all times have the following duties. So she has to comply with all of these things. Again, I'm not going to read through this. This is long stuff. And so then during her periods of possession, she'll follow the following rights and duties: duty of care, control, protection, reasonable discipline, blah, 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 blah. Ordered that Kelly is parent temporary sole manager. Okay, so we don't need to go through this. It is ordered that Danielle Hamlin is appointed temporary sole managing conservator, and Michael and Kelly are both possessory conservators of the following child, Sophie. So Danielle is going to take over the roles here, which Michael objects to as she is not before the court. But the question, of course, is that if Danielle is Kelly's sister, is this a proper outcome? Because the obvious outcome is that Kelly has unfettered access to Sophie as long as her sister is custodian. Like, that's just how it's going to go. Or her mom. The same thing. And if by the way, if they ordered temporary possession of Sophie to Michael's dad, Kelly would be having an absolute shit fit over it. And rightfully so. If Kelly needs to be, or if Sophie needs to be removed from the two parents, then she needs to be removed from the two parents and those respective family members that are in the immediate family of those two parents. Like that's the way that this type of case should go. A neutral foster parent, something like that, maybe. I don't want to see kids go into foster care, but I mean, how do you resolve the obvious issues there? So here's all the duties. But this is what's going on. So this is the order. Here's the possession order. Michael Long shall have no contact for 90 days. Danielle shall have sole possession of Sophie until further order of this court, which Danielle would not necessarily have to comply with. But what order is she bound by? How does this court bind her? Without submitting to the jurisdiction of this court, without being served in this case, without making an appearance. How does the court order her to do something subsequent to her receiving the child? It's ordered that Kelly Long shall have sole possession of JL and LL until further order of this court. Periods of possession ordered above apply to each child the subject of this suit while they're under 18 and not otherwise emancipated. So there you go. Now there's an injunction. Court finds that based on the public policy considerations stated in Section 153.001 of the Texas Family Code, it's in the best interest of the children that the following temporary injunction be issued and related orders be entered. Michael Long and his agents, servants, employees, attorneys, and those persons in active concert or participation with him who receive actual notice of this order by personal service or otherwise are temporarily enjoined from communicating or making any effort to communicate with the children, Kelly Long, or any of Kelly Long's family during the 90-day no-contact period. So the 90-day no-contact period for Michael also applies to all of his family, which, might I remind you, would include the paternal grandparents of the children. Disturbing the peace of the children or of any other party, whatever that means. Withdrawing the children from enrollment in the school or daycare facility where the children are presently enrolled. Hiding or secreting the children from the respondent. Intentionally communicating with the children, Kelly Long, or any of Kelly Long's family. By the way, this is amazing because agents, servants, employees, attorneys, and in active concert or participation with him. I guess they do have to be served. So maybe not the parents. I might have overstated that. Okay. So intentionally communicating with the children, Kelly, or any of the Kelly Long's family in person or in any other manner, including by telephone or another electronic voice transmission, video chat, in writing, electronic messaging, by use of vulgar, profane, obscene, or indecent language, or in a coarse or offensive manner with intent to annoy or alarm the other party. Okay. So I guess they can't harass them. Sounds good. They can communicate with them, but not by use of vulgar, profane. Okay, got it. Threatening the children, Kelly Long, or any of Kelly Long's family in person or in any other manner to take unlawful action against any person intending by this action to annoy or alarm the other party. Placing a telephone call anonymously at any unreasonable hours. This is all basic harassment stuff. Intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causing bodily injury to the other party or to a child of either party or to any relative of Kelly Long. Threatening the other party or a child of either party or a relative of Kelly Long with immediate bodily injury. So don't do illegal stuff. Got it. Nailed it. Order that Kelly Long and her agents who receive actual notice of this order are temporarily enjoined from allowing the children the subject of the suit to be in the presence of Jacob Bellington. Again. She already violated this order. Kelly Long is to use all reasonable efforts to avoid contact between the children and Jacob Bellington. Seems easy to me. I don't know. Seems tough. Or not tough. That was a sarcastic tough. Seems tough. Don't have contact with Jacob Bellington. Well, that was easy. Just don't. Here's the problem, and you find this really often in the foster care system. What you find is moms who really, really like the abuser of them or the children. because the abuser provides something, whatever it is, safety, secure. I mean, they get beat, but they have the security of a house. Who knows? And so even when the courts routinely, and they do this a lot, they order the moms to have no contact with an abusive dad or an abusive boyfriend or whoever because they're a danger to the child. And moms over and over and over again, right back in. As soon as the government isn't watching, boyfriend's back in the house. So I joke that I say it seems easy, but for some people it's really, really difficult to not live with the alleged abuser. If contact occurs, Kelly Long is ordered to inform the guardian ad litem and or the amicus attorney within a reasonable time after the contact occurs. Again, something she didn't do last time. Counseling for J and L. It is ordered that they shall continue counseling with Dr. Dean Beckloff at a frequency to be determined by Dr. Beckloff. Michael Long is ordered to pay for such counseling within 10 days of receipt of invoices or bills for the same. So, unlimited payment. He's not in custody of the kids. This guy can, in theory, say he needs to see the kids every day, and Michael has to pay within 10 days of receipt, no matter what the amount is. Counselor for Sophie. Ordered that Kelly Long and Danielle Hamlin shall have the right and are ordered to enroll Sophie Long in a counseling program approved by the guardian ad litem and the amicus attorney. Michael is ordered to pay for such counseling within 10 days of receipt of invoices or bills for the same. Again, no matter what the cost, 10 days. Pay the bills. Further ordered that Danielle Hamlin shall take the necessary steps to have the child evaluated by Dr. Alexandria Doyle during the 90-day period immediately following the signing of this order. Michael Long and Kelly Long are ordered to cooperate fully with Dr. Doyle to complete the evaluation, which, of course, if Danielle has them, there's basically nothing that they would need to do. Court finds it's in the best interest of Sophie Long that she and Kelly Long participate in the program Turning Points for Families led by Linda Gottlieb. Mandalorian 17 says, I missed a portion of the last stream about this, but was there any evidence presented as to what Michael did to harm the children? The evidence is that Michael, or the allegation is that Michael engaged in something called parental alienation, where it's Michael's fault that Sophie is terrified of Kelly. That's the gist of it. Also, is there a reason he doesn't have a court-appointed attorney? You don't get court-appointed attorneys in family court. You only get court-appointed attorneys in criminal court. Now, sometimes a men's rights group or legal aid or something will take up a case if you meet the criteria. I don't think legal aid would take up Michael's case. Further orders as to Michael. It is ordered that Michael Long shall have no contact with the children subject to this suit, with Kelly Long or any relative of Kelly Long. Further, Michael Long shall make no attempt to contact the children, Kelly Long, or any of Kelly Long's family during the 90 days following the signing of this order. It is ordered that Michael Long shall enroll and participate in counseling with Dr. Mary Alvarez, Ph.D., or with a therapist pre-approved by the guardian ad litem and amicus attorney. So the court is ordering Michael into the care of a counselor, psychiatrist, or if he doesn't want to go to that one, the guardian ad litem and amicus attorney can pre-approve a therapist for Michael. So he's not allowed to pick his own care. He needs to follow who the court assigns to him. It is further ordered that Michael shall attend sessions weekly and will attend no fewer than 10 counseling sessions during the 90-day no-contact period. It is ordered that Michael Long is responsible for 100% of the cost of this counseling. It is ordered that Michael Long will pay the following amounts within 30 days of signing of this order. So you got $2,500 to Alexandria Doyle, $500 to Dean Beckloff, $1,540 to Dr. Blake Mitchell. It is ordered that Michael Long shall pay to Danielle Hamlin, to Kelly Long's sister, the sum of $15,000 as the cost to enroll Sophie Long in the Turning Points therapy program within 90-day no-contact period. Such payment is ordered to be made through the law office of David Roudson Jr. If the 90-day no-contact period expires without such payment being made, the no-contact period will be extended until such time as Michael Long appears before the court at a hearing he himself schedules to provide sufficient evidence as to why the court should lift the no contact order without Sophie Long completing the Turning Point therapy program. Do you guys able to, you can come up with 20 grand in 90 days, right? Any one of you? You guys got this. It's just 20 grand in 90 days. I mean, it's not quite 20. It's about 19,000. It's close though. It's really close. It's 19.5 or whatever. I mean, this amount, this 4 grand you got to come up with in 30, and then the other 15 though, that's in 90. Order as to Kelly Long. Order that Kelly Long shall pay the amount of $1,320 to Dr. Blake Mitchell within 30 days of signing of this order. That's it. Previous social media order. It is ordered that all previous injunctions as to social media contained in the January 28th order remain in full force and effect. So the gag order is still in place. So there you go. That's what's going on in this case. That is the update as to what's happening right now. So let's recap. That request, that order is part of a request. The request is from Kelly to enforce those orders. Okay? And those orders are to be enforced at the August 4th hearing. That's what she's requesting. Enforce this stuff. Because Michael has not complied with it. Now, Michael has requested a petition for writ of mandamus. That is where you do not have the ability to gain relief from the court or the appeals court, and failure to obtain relief pretty much immediately could result in long-term irreparable harm to your rights. So, Michael's basic argument for the writ of mandamus is as follows. The court has issued an unjust order. If the court's order is complied with for these following reasons, injustice will occur. My rights will be irreparably damaged. The following reasons are: I'm ordered to pay money as a condition to see my children, which is a violation of Texas law. The court has ordered one of my children into the care of someone who is not before the court and not under its jurisdiction. If the court orders Sophie into the care of Daniel Hamlin and that is affected, it is highly possible that Michael will never see his daughter again, no matter what order occurs after that. Because the court will have zero power to bind Danielle Hamlin to anything. Period. They will have no jurisdiction. They will not be able to order a police department or law enforcement agency to recover the child. They'll have nothing. So this is what he's concerned with. If this order happens the way it happens, he may never see his child again. And at this point, do you think Kelly has any motivation to allow Michael to see Sophie or the other kids ever again? No. The reason that they say that the order is invalid is because it's a violation of Texas law, and further, because his due process rights were violated, as he was not allowed to testify in the best interest of his own children. I tend to agree with that. Whether the court will determine that that is a mandamus issue, that's another question. Don't know. I can't tell you how this is going to turn out. Mandamus is an extreme remedy, and lots of stuff happens that should probably be mandamus with relative frequency, and it never is. Sometimes, though, there are orders specifically in children's cases where mandamus occurs. This is occurring in Collin County. Collin County has, let's say, issues with family law. Let's say issues with judges. Collin County is a cesspool. Random 11 says, could he not join her to the case if the sister takes her? By what jurisdiction? He doesn't have jurisdiction over her. I mean, the court could say, I have jurisdiction over you. And you could say, no, you don't. Never made an appearance, never submitted jurisdiction, don't live in Texas. What are you going to do to me? You took the kid. Yeah. Grandma told me to take the kid. Remember, they ordered temporary possession to the grandmother, who I believe does live in Texas. Grandmother takes the girl, passes it off to Danielle. Danielle's not complying with any order, not subject to it. She's just taking the kid. I mean, that's the legal argument. We know the reality of what would happen in that case. But, yeah. So, long story short, this thing's a mess, y'all. This thing is a mess. We'll have to see. Hopefully, Michael files that amended petition for emergency stay and the amended mandamus request by July 30th, by Friday. He's got to do it by Friday. Hopefully he does it to protect his interests. If he doesn't do it, of course, then he basically forfeits and loses his mandamus petition. Can he just leave the state and not be pursued? No. No, he is subject to the jurisdiction of the court. And so what the court could do, if Michael leaves the state and the court determines that he actually has the child, and the court determines that he's actually under the order, the court can order law enforcement to recover, and then law enforcement can request participation from another state's law enforcement agencies for the enforcement of a valid court order. Michael is subject to the orders of the court, especially as a petitioner. There's no question. He has submitted himself to the jurisdiction. They already have it because he is in Texas. They already have jurisdiction over him, but doubly so because he asked the court for this. So, and yeah, the Glarer is in the chat. What's up? Says, which they haven't done yet. They have not. They have not actually ordered law enforcement. I mean, like, they kind of wanted to at the 7th hearing, but they haven't actually done it. Because law enforcement, in theory, if there was an active order to have the girl recovered, like, they could recover her. I think, again, I swear, shouldn't swear. Swearing is rude. I strongly believe they know exactly where Sophie is. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Okay. So, other news. I think that's it on the Sophie topic for tonight. I think that's enough. It's a messy subject. Let's see. 1K shot or we riot. We get there? We did get there. You guys do it every night. I'm drinking Wiggle Pennsylvania Rye tonight. Again, a gift from my man Garrett. Can we see your shirt? Where'd you get it? Yeah, I ordered it at Matsuri. I'll show you. It finally came in like yesterday or the day before. I got 2 shirts. Here's my shirt. It says Chonk, which is me. I'm a Chonk, but Chonk. Truth expose with Brie. I'll take a look at it. The grandma lives with mom. Of course she does. Okay, I'm gonna love what you DM me. Let's get some levity into this stream. Okay. You know things are about to get interesting when you've got Cernovich on Twitter going on here. This is a Veritas thing, okay. Where are we? Oh, this is the AOC thing, isn't it? All right, I've heard about this. I haven't watched it though. He's just tweeting something from Veritas here. It says A Star Is Born. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
For 1 hour, if I can please.
Oh my goodness, yes, of course.
Okay. I did. I drove 1 hour just to let you know that I am a journalist with Project Veritas.
Oh.
Got him! Got him! Do you even live in the Bronx? Because we investigated that. When an elected representative hides behind her fame, Project Veritas, we expose everyone, sir.
Nailed it. Oh, too bad. Good on Veritas. Good on Veritas. Taking down the terror that is AOC. Okay. What other stuff is going on today? We need some stuff cheer you up. Oh, here's a good one. While we're talking about, you like my Band-Aids, by the way? What is this? Like some sort of heathen wearing these Band-Aids. I did a food sensitivity test that required me to jab a sharp metal object into my fingers to get blood out of them. So that's good. Jackson Kai. Oh, with the proper with the proper super chat amount. $28.58. Says, think I got my math right on this one. Cheers, drinking a Lafroig with you. Been a really rough day. Love you, Nick. Try not to work too hard. Appreciate you being here. Oh man. I'm trying very hard not to work too hard. Burning off your fingerprints. Yeah, like Kevin Spacey did in Seven. Okay. Band-Aid, don't you mean bitch stickers? That's good. God, why do they always make you poke your fingers? Like, you know where we should have them poke? Let's find the most nerves in the body. It's never like the back of the arm or something. Like I could just jab a knife into my forearms right now. I probably wouldn't even care. But they're like, nah. No, get these little delicate spots with all the nerve endings and then shove stuff into that. That's perfect. Okay. This will be uplifting. We want to talk about uplifting stories from the court. I got to pull this up real quick. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's talk. We don't want to talk about depressing court stuff. Let's talk about Britney Spears. Let's talk about Britney Spears. Nothing depressing about this at all. Britney Spears has been so she's gotten some W's lately. She's gotten some W's. She's finally got her own lawyer. Her own lawyer is now in charge of her case. She no longer has the court-appointed attorney that she was paying like $350,000 a year, right? And so her new lawyer immediately makes a motion to remove the dad. Very direct to the court. Remove the dad from the conservatorship for unjust enrichment. And this is great. Confidential court records obtained by the Times reveal that the singer's urged changes to the arrangement that controls her life and her father's role in leading it. In the years since the judge gave the father, Britney Spears, broad control over her life and finances, concerned fans have questioned how the court could continue to deem her unable to protect and care for herself, despite the fact she was still performing a performing pop star. Her father and others involved maintained that it was a smooth-running machine that had rescued her from a low point and benefited Britney Spears, and that she could move to end it whenever she wanted. Except she can't really seem to do that, can she? All the while, she stayed largely silent on the subject in public, but now confidential court records obtained by the New York Times reveal that Spears, 39, expressed serious opposition to the conservatorship earlier and more often than had previously been known. Said it restricted everything from whom she dated to the color of her kitchen cabinets. She articulated she feels a conservatorship has become an oppressive and controlling tool against her, a court investigator wrote in a 2016 report. The system had too much control, Ms. Spears said, according to the investigator's account of the conversation, too much. Ms. Spears informed the investigator that she wanted the conservatorship terminated as soon as possible. Why am I reading this over there? She is sick of being taken advantage of, and she said she is the one working and earning her money, but everyone around her is on her payroll, the investigator wrote. In 2019, Ms. Spears told the court that she had felt forced by the conservatorship to stay at a mental health facility and to perform against her will. At the helm of the singer's life and finances, this is the juicy stuff. For most of that time was her once estranged father, James P. Spears. Mr. Spears, known as Jamie, was appointed conservator in 2008. Shortly after, Britney was twice taken to a hospital by ambulance for involuntary psychiatric evaluations amid a series of public struggles, concerns around her mental health and substance abuse. The newly obtained court records show that Ms. Spears questioned his fitness for the role as early as 2014 in a hearing closed to the public. Remember all this? Oh, she just hasn't been asking about it. But turns out she's been asking about it for 7 years now. Ms. Spears' court-appointed lawyer, Samuel D. Ingham III, said she wanted to explore removing her father as conservator, citing his drinking, among other objections, on a shopping list of grievances. Last year, Mr. Ingham told the judge that Ms. Spears was afraid of her father, who remained steward of her nearly $60 million fortune. On Wednesday, Ms. Spears is scheduled to address the Los Angeles court directly. A rare move she requested on an expedited basis. It is unclear whether her remarks will be made in public, but her relationship with her father is expected to be a central topic. Representatives for Mr. Spears, 68, declined to comment. Let's see. If at any time Britney wants to end her conservatorship, she can ask her lawyer to file a petition to terminate it. She has always had this right, but in 13 years, she has never exercised it. Vivian Lee Thoreen, a lawyer for Jamie, said in a statement to People earlier this year, Britney knows that her daddy loves her and that he will be there for her whenever and if she needs him, just as he always has been, conservatorship or not. Except he literally wasn't always there. Like, it was her estranged father. He wasn't actually there. All right, here we go. Theirs has long been a difficult and dysfunctional relationship, according to court records and interviews with many people who know the family. That dynamic grew even more complicated after Mr. Spears, a recovering alcoholic who has faced accusations of physical and verbal abuse, took the lead in wrestling what he saw as his adult daughter's demons. Ms. Spears said her father was obsessed with her and wanted to control everything about her. According to the investigator's report, she could not make friends without his approval. Even as she earned millions from a successful Las Vegas residency, she said she was limited to a $2,000 weekly allowance, according to the records. So she gets $8,000 a month. Not bad. But when you make a ton of money, $8,000 a month isn't that much. And remember that number. Any mistakes resulted in very harsh consequences, Ms. Spears added, according to the report. Conservatorship comes with a lot of fear. After consulting with Ms. Spears, her conservators, and her doctors, the probate investigator concluded in 2016 that the conservatorship remained in Ms. Spears' best interest based on her complex finances, susceptibility to undue influence, and intermittent drug issues, though the report called for a pathway to independence and eventual termination of the conservatorship. The records provide only a snapshot of Miss Spears' sentiments and situation throughout a 13-year saga. Still, they present in great detail her discontent with the arrangement, in particular her concerns that her views about her father's behavior were not being appropriately considered. Experts say conservatorship should prioritize the wishes of the conservatee and help them regain their independence. The arrangements are supposed to be a last resort for people who cannot take care of their basic needs, such as those with significant disabilities or older people with dementia. Yet Miss Spears has been able to perform and profit for more than a decade. Jamie and Brittany. What the court records make clear is that the battle over the conservatorship is rooted in the family's troubled history. Let's go down to how much her dad has been making. This is what we need to talk about, because this is great. Here we go. In February 2008, according to court records, Judge Goetz deemed Mr. Spears a suitable and qualified person, granted him broad control over his daughter's daily life and, alongside a conservator, her finances. Everything he does, he feels is in the best interest of his daughters and his family, said Mitch Covington, a friend of Mr. Spears. Brittany quickly went back to work. Within a year of being deemed unable to care for herself, she guest starred on national television, released a #1 album, and was preparing to embark on a run of almost 100 shows around the world. Aside from his salary as conservator, now about $16,000 a month, plus $2,000 a month for office space rent. So, to care for his daughter, he is earning $16,000 a month, plus $2,000 a month in office spaces. What's that? What's that annually? 18,000 times 12, $216,000. Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig. I'd take it. Would you take it? $18,000 a month? The name Goetz is pronounced Getz. Not in this house. It's not. Mr. Spears was approved by the court to receive a percentage of various deals signed for his daughter. Oh, wait a minute. Huh? In 2011, he received a 2.9% commission for his work on Britney's successful Femme Fatale tour. 3%. These tours do a lot of money. They make a lot of money. And in 2014, he was granted 1.5% of gross revenues from the performances and merchandising tied to her Las Vegas residency, Piece of Me, which went on to earn a reported $138 million across nearly 250 shows. 1.5% of gross revenues, not net. So he pulls in, you got what, roughly $140 million times 1.5? That's 1.5%. So what, like $2 million? $2 million there. Couple million, million or so up here. The dual role of looking out for Miss Spears' best interests as conservator and reaping more profits each time she performed was fraught with conflict. Yeah, you think? Remember how she was saying she wasn't allowed to not perform? She wasn't allowed to take a break? Well, if Dad's earning money off of the tours, why would he ever let her stop? According to Michael Hensley, a probate lawyer in California who works as a fee examination expert and is not involved in the Spears case. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing that this is still going on. Like, I know people think, oh, Britney, she's kind of kooky. She's weird. She's making some strange mistakes or whatever. And she was in debt. She was crazy. Guys, everybody's crazy. Almost nobody is subject to a conservatorship. And the best part is, so she's paying her dad $216,000 a year. She's been doing this, been paying him something, but doing this since 2008. We don't know where that started. We only know where that's finished. So just a couple $100,000 a year for, 13 years now. He's pulled in multiple millions of dollars. Conservators, they're not supposed to profit from the conservatorship. That is opposed to the idea. Conservators are supposed to be compensated fairly for the burden. That's what they're supposed to do. So, okay, how much work a week is he doing? What is he doing to be her conservator? Like, honestly, that's the question. How much work is he putting in a week? And what is his hourly rate? And why is it there? Is it justified? Is he a financial expert? I mean, maybe he's taking care of her finances, okay? So let's say he works 20 hours a week managing her finances. I can't imagine it takes 40, 50, 60 hours a week, but let's say it's 40. Let's say it's a full-time job managing Britney Spears' finances, even though he's not an accountant as far as I know, nor a financial planner, a certified financial planner of any kind. So he has to hire experts to do this. So his job literally then becomes going to meetings and then making decisions based on what you learn at the meetings or taking phone calls. What is justifying this money? Zara BP says, I truly believe that she cannot take care of herself, but I will say there is no way her dad should be the one in charge of the conservatorship. Why can't she take care of herself? This is my question. I don't understand. You know people that are more retarded than Britney Spears. I guarantee you do. And no one would think to put them under a conservatorship. It was the public nature of her life and the public nature of her breakdown that caused the conservatorship. But let's say even let's say even they should. But think about it. People go to rehab all the time. Abusers, alcoholics, drug addicts. None of them have their entire lives managed by someone that they have to pay. And by the way, if she wants to end the conservatorship, she has to pay for her own attorneys. She has to pay for her dad's attorneys. She has to pay for the attorneys of the financial conservatorship, which her dad isn't actually that conservator. She has to pay for everybody to fight her for her own money. It's insane. It's something I don't see it. I know people like say this, but what is she doing that is any less like any more crazy, especially now, than anybody else in entertainment? She comes off with the mentality of a child. I mean, someone having the mentality of a child does not mean that they're not capable of taking care of themselves to the point of needing a conservatorship, in my humble opinion. So, it's so here's the thing that I didn't get to. Britney Spears' dad, I inferred this earlier. Britney Spears' dad makes more money per month off of Britney Spears than Britney Spears. That's at the root of this. This is the core issue. Britney Spears has to pay her dad without her choice or will. Like he's setting his own fee more than she gets to use of her own money. It's wild. It's wild. But I just wanted to talk about it. People have asked me. I don't want to go super in depth into the Britney Spears space on my own. I may invite Emily Baker on the stream to talk about it or something. She's been covering it heavily. And she probably knows a lot more about it than me. But just looking at the basic facts of this thing, how this conservatorship is still going. Remember, 5 years ago, they recommended that the conservatorship still be in place, but on a path to independence. How long is this path? This person is now almost 40. She'll be 40 this year, right? Just before I turn 40, she'll turn 40. And she's on a path to independence. Again, she goes on world tours. She performs consistently at shows. She makes millions of dollars. Her social media has been actually relatively quiet for years. Only recently has Britney started talking. And it's amazing because I would imagine that Britney was not talking for years and years and years because she was told that it would be a bad look for her conservatorship, if I had to guess. And it turns out the best move for her so far has been to actually start speaking publicly on some of this stuff. That has turned out to have the most positive consequences for her, where staying silent for years actually didn't. Britney was oftentimes quiet for very long periods. She would come out, maybe she'd release an album, maybe she'd do a tour, and then she'd go away. She disappeared. No paparazzi life, no like showing up, nipple slip in Venice or whatever like everybody else. None of that. She wasn't out getting paparazzi'd at clubs and stuff like that. It's crazy. Good night, Ken. Mr. Schwagen says, what did you think of Britney's debut in that Catholic schoolgirl's outfit when you were in your Jack in years? Listen, I worked at Circuit City in the music department when Hit Me Baby One More Time came out. And I saw that video about 10 times a shift. It was great. It was glorious. So there you go. So that's the Britney Spears update. What else should we talk about? Probably not much. We're getting close to the end of the show here. I was going to talk about Simone Biles, but we already talked about that earlier. Let's see. Was there any other news? I'll probably talk about this tomorrow. Justice Department is sending states a warning about partisan audits of the 2020 election. So now the Biden Department of Justice is telling people they don't want. No, states don't audit the election. Not a good look. Not a good look. Trump has no power. We learned that now because some random candidate that Trump endorsed in Texas, a Republican, lost to a different Republican. So Trump doesn't have any influence. I learned that. That's all over the place. Let's see. What else? We've got the California ban on certain machines, certain computers, but that's been talked about a lot lately. No, it doesn't mean that nobody in California can have a gaming machine. It just requires a little bit of finagling. So it's kind of interesting. ASO says Britney clearly has servants that cook and clean for her, so the need for conservatorship is kind of stupid when they aren't needed for daily functions. Yeah. Yeah. The California thing, it's just funny to me because that's where so many MLG guys are. They're out in California, and the thought that it may be a little bit more difficult for them to procure a high-end gaming PC makes me laugh. But they're probably having custom jobs built themselves, and they'll have them, I'm sure, shipped to another state and then just driven over. Speaking of the DOJ, care to comment on the eco-terrorist political nominee to the BLM and her apparent perjury to Congress? I have no idea about that. I don't know anything about that at all. Isn't that California law going to apply to computer parts next year? I think it does have phased-in escalation, so I don't know. I don't know where it goes from here, but it sounds great. The CDC ruling about masks. Yeah, you got to wear masks again. Got to wear those masks again. Get back into it. I know you thought you were away from them, but now they're going to be back. And of course they are, you bigots. What I talked about on Eric Hunley's show today that was pretty interesting is all of the probes, all of those coronavirus investigations, you know, where like governors of states, starting with New York and then going to Michigan and Washington, where they took coronavirus people and put them into nursing homes so that it would kill off all the old people in the nursing homes. Yeah, all of those investigations into that have been dropped. So that's good. That's fine. Shill your masks, the grift must flow. That's right. If you guys need a mask to comply with CDC guidelines, you can go to my Teespring and you can buy yourself a Ricada Law mask or a No Step on Sneck mask. I think there's a third one on there, but I don't remember. But yeah, all of those investigations into why they killed the old people, those are gone. And that shouldn't surprise anyone. That shouldn't surprise anybody at all. You love the daughter of Starfire, right? No, I don't. I don't do that. So, why are your No Step on Snacks masks not in yellow? They are. They are in yellow. Or they should be. They're supposed to be. You might have to pick the different color. So, what about Kim Gardner? I don't know anything about the Frank Miller thing, Wolvenar. I just saw EVS is streaming about it, but I don't know what that was. What about Kim Gardner? Yeah, Kim Gardner dropped, failed to show up, or well, her office was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Let's do this. Let's do this one.
Well, an accused murderer who was set free after prosecutors failed to show up.
Shut up. Okay, so this is the update on this. I did a short video on this before the stream. U.S. Marshals arrest St. Louis man released after prosecutors failed to show up to hearings in a murder trial. Kim Gardner's office just didn't show up. Just didn't. So a man released from prison after St. Louis prosecutors failed to appear for multiple hearings on the case was arrested by U.S. Marshals Friday night. Brandon Campbell was arrested without incident at a home on Tyrell Drive in Jennings, Missouri. At-large warrants had been issued for Campbell's arrest in connection to Randy Moore's death. The arrest of this dangerous and violent fugitive is a direct result of the Eastern Missouri Violent Fugitive Task Force's commitment to combating violent crime in the St. Louis metro area. Well, I mean, they got the violent crime out of the St. Louis metro area, so, I mean, I guess that was a good job. Said supervisor, maybe. I don't know. Where was he arrested again? In Jennings, Missouri? Is that in the metro? I don't know. Let's see. This task force relies on an interagency cooperation So on April 9th, 2020, St. Louis police were called to the 3700 block of Aldine Avenue for a report of a shooting. Officers arrived. They found 30-year-old Moore in the street, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. On Friday, St. Louis Circuit Judge Jason Sennheiser dismissed the case after St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner's prosecutors failed to appear for multiple hearings on the case. St. Louis police told the I-Team the murder suspect was free, despite a statement from Gardner's office saying it refiled the charges and that he is in custody. He should argue double jeopardy on this one. They'll probably say no because it wasn't adjudicated on the merits. But I'd make the argument. I'd make the argument that that this is adjudicated on the merits. They decided not to show up. In this statement, Kim Gardner wrote, "Be assured that as the circuit attorney of the city of St. Louis, I am accountable to the public for the actions of the office and remain committed as ever to uphold the highest possible standards and practices of accountability at all levels of this office, particularly the public safety of the residents of the city of St. Louis. As a result, the individual in this case is custody." Gardner's office issued a revised statement at about 7 p.m. confirming Campbell remains at large and that the office has kept Moore's family informed about the case. Family members said they haven't heard anything about the case from anyone other than homicide detectives. And Moore's sisters say Gardner's inaction on the brothers' case is inexcusable. They learned the suspect was free from the I-Team, even though the state statute requires prosecutors to keep victims' families informed on the developments in their loved ones' cases. So, question will be, very interesting question. I would file a motion to dismiss for double jeopardy. They failed to prosecute. They chose not to pursue the case on the merits. Therefore, the case is dismissed. Therefore, bringing the same charges against him violates his due process rights and his right against double jeopardy. But that's what I would do. But yeah, Kim Gardner's office. So what they ended up doing, allegedly, apparently, is they had a prosecutor out on maternity leave. One of the prosecutors was out on maternity leave, and they were using some system to fraudulently sign that prosecutor's name. They assigned the prosecutor on maternity leave cases, and then were using an e-signature to sign the documents in those cases. Problem is, of course, she's out on maternity leave. She's not actually there, not actually signing those documents, and not showing up to hearings. So, good job. Good job on that. And again, like, that guy seems like a horrific murderer, but I mean, if the state isn't going to prosecute you, if they're going to forge documents, I think you win. Don't you? Like, that seems to me like that's where the case should go. Not that I want a murderer on the street, but you know, there's a process for a reason. Imagine you get hauled into jail, spend a bunch of time in jail, and when you finally go to your hearings, the other side, the attorney just never shows up. Multiple hearings, attorney just doesn't show up. And finally, the judge is like, okay, well, I guess dismiss then. And then you leave, and then you get arrested again. Now you have to wait again for them to get around to scheduling hearings and all that stuff. I don't know, man. Okay, we've got Synac8 says, so a question about Sophie Long. A lot of people are reporting that she is missing. Is this true? I don't know. I have a feeling that everybody involved in the case knows exactly where Sophie is. That's just my guess. That's just my guess, is that the Kelly Long's attorneys, Kelly, the amicus attorney, the guardian ad litem, I think they all know exactly where Sophie is. But that's just an opinion. But is she missing? Here's the thing. just about anybody can file a missing persons report. And it's really good for the mom's narrative to have a missing persons report filed and to have that suddenly get national news. It's really, really good for that. No yellow on the no step on snack. What is this? Hold on. I haven't been to my Teespring in a while. The gator comes in yellow. Why doesn't... Where's the... Oh, they don't offer yellow. I added all the colors that they offer where the text will actually show up. But they don't offer yellow. Lame. It's yellow on the neck gator. And neck gators are useless. And it's yellow on the fanny pack. But they don't have it on the mask. That is so dumb. God, what a terrible company. No, it's not copyright reasons. It's just literally they just must not have yellow on those masks. Just like Harvard. Oh, come on. Oh my gosh. You'd like your apology now, please? I have a policy of never apologizing. You know that. I was right until I was wrong. So let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and read chats, wrap up the show. Let me talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow is potential Vic decision day. I don't know if it's gonna be one. You never know how it's gonna work out. If there's not a Vic decision, I'm not 100% sure there's gonna be a show. I don't know. I'm very, very tired. I've had some long shows this week and pretty worn out from that. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I'm lying. Ignore everything I just said. Drexel will be here tomorrow. So, yeah, prepare for some shows with Drexel tomorrow and Friday. There you go. There you go. Thursday, Friday, Drexel will be here. We'll be doing some shows, but they may be something a little, different. We might play a game or something. We'll see. Volan DeVault says, there you go again, trying to cancel Thursday. Look, here's the thing. With Vic's decision, hanging in the balance, I don't want to, prep an entire show and then have Vic's thing pop up and me have to do that. And I can't find out if the show is coming until 9:30.
Well, an accused
PM.
murderer who was set free after prosecutors failed.
It's not really efficient. So if I'm tired and need a day to do something, Thursday's the day, because I'm not going to find out if I'm going to have the Vic show until 9:30. So that's why it's always Thursday. But yeah, that stupid thing refresh, the webpage auto refresh. That's why the audio came up for a second. But AM or PM? No, 9:30 p.m. But Drexel will be over, so we'll have a show. We'll have a show, and then the only different thing would be if Vic's decision comes down. I'll talk about that. But how much longer do they have to make a decision? As long as they want. No one can do anything about it. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna ignore Eldon Bainling's whining. Face Off. Why would anyone want to watch that movie? God, it's terrible. Kyra says, "Hi Nick. Hey, can next movie night be Hackers, please? When will the next movie night be? It's not on Prime. I love that movie. I'd watch it all the time. Hack the Planet. It's garbage, man. It's garbage. But on August 1st, a new set of movies comes to Prime, and it's gonna be great. Great. So we'll figure. Should I do a movie tonight? Maybe. We'll see. I did a movie last night because I was not in a good, like Simone Biles, I was not in a good space to do Doki Doki Literature Club. I also hate with a fiery passion playing visual novels. I hate it. Wait, it is on Prime? Okay, let me look. There's a lot of nuance to this. Hackers. It is currently unavailable. The Hackers from 1988 is on Prime. It has to be included for free with Prime. So, but Hackers starring Angelina Jolie and Johnny Lee Miller are not, and Matthew Lillard, that is not available on Prime currently. But The Hackers from 1988 is, which sounds terrible. Horror movie. Typical horror slasher film that is funny, a little disturbing, and terrifying. Okay, there you go. So that's something different though. But I love the movie Hackers. We did Reign of Fire. Watch Face Off, so Ken will stop at the counts. I will not be bullied into watching Face Off because Face Off is trash. God, awful. Awful movie. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do these chats and then we'll wrap up the show. Where am I? Here we go. Nora Vanguard says, "Hi, Nick. If you want a good horror comedy, I recommend Nick Cage's Willy's Wonderland. And the painting looks real nice. And also, pineapple belongs on pizza, despite what people say. They're wheelchair symbols." Pineapple pizza is disgusting. It is absolutely awful. Hyrule 47 says, "Hey, Nick, did you happen to take a look at the Badusai, the First Amendment auditor? City made it illegal to film around the police station. Go check his community tab for the ordinance." No, I have not looked at that yet. Also says, "I know activism isn't your thing, but I dig some of the First Amendment auditor community. Badusai is the Turner from the Turner versus Driver case. Wanted to know your take on it. I read the ordinance and nearly fell out of my chair. They seem to be backtracking. I'll have to look into it. Please go." And then Hyrule 47 says, "Please go support Ken Jennings. Great guy." So that's, I'll pull this up real quick. It's GoFundMe. Jennings. Here is Ken Jennings. GoFundMe. GoFundMe.com/F/support Ken. I'll put it in the chat. The mods can also share it as well. But you can see it here. He's up to $6,275 raised of his $10,000 goal. People have been very, very supportive of Ken Jennings from a bunch of stupid, ugly fatsos who decided to dox him and harass his work and get them to fire him with lies. They lied about Ken Jennings. They lied about what he was talking about because they were mad that he wasn't under their control. So these are garbage people, absolute dumpsters of humanity, and everyone involved in doing that. what they deserve is stuff that I can't say on YouTube. But hopefully at some point they'll get what they deserve. So there you go. Give Ken Jennings some support. Help him transition to a new career, and bridge that painful gap. Okay. Okay, so back to Hyrule. It says, please go support Ken Jennings. Great guy. Praise to the mods in chat. What is this? Hashtag stand with Ken Jennings. Sorry, but I missed it. But where did the money go for Mike's GoFundMe? I don't know. I thought I saw he got like 200K, or am I mistaken? And on a final note, pee poo poo. I actually don't know. I don't know if he got the money and spent it. I don't know if he never got the money because the GoFundMe was declared fraudulent. I don't know, but I'm looking into that. Arrow Shogun says, what is your opinion on the Orthodox Church? They're interesting. Very interesting. I have a friend who's like a deacon in Greek Orthodox Church, and they're heavy on like iconography and stuff like that. Their services are interesting. I don't know. I was raised Protestant, but now I'm leaning towards Orthodox because I just discovered the Orthodoxy is closer to my values. Protestants are cucking to women/gays, and the Catholics I've seen are getting woke too. Well, there you go. You check it out. I don't know. If you like it, go do it. Jane Doe says, Trump wrong, you fucking bitch. Anon has shielded people from persecution and prosecution for the entirety of the U.S. The Federalist Papers were published. Anon, you dumb fucking bitch. Fuck you. You stop it. You get out of... Wait, am I supposed to say that as Trump? I think so. Wrong, you fucking bitch. Anonymity has shielded people from persecution and prosecution for the entirety of the U.S. The Federalist Papers are published anonymously. You dumb fucking bitch. Fuck you. You stop it. You. Get out. Wall. I built a beautiful wall. Get over it. Catapult. Don't care. Find a way. So I guess that's what that was. I don't know. I don't think that's actually in relationship to Trump. I think that was the Trump voice talking about the people doxing Ken Jennings or whatever. Lisa Sadowski's Sweaty Folds says, stop talking about this case, Nikki, or Lisa is going to stuff her face with more cake and create even more folds. We can't take it anymore. Save us. Mr. Security says, law firm doxing someone may not be illegal, but it sounds unethical. Fuck that group of Karens. Eat shit, Kelly. Your mom's a hoe. Your boyfriend needs to face the wall. You Karens that dox Ken can eat a dick, but you won't because you're all old and barren. Wow. Silky Johnson says, fucking disgusting that those investigations were dropped. Not surprising. In the old days, those governors would have been pulled out of their house and beaten with bats in Minecraft. But it's okay. Those families don't need closure. We had an election to win. Bigot. No, it's also fine that they will listen. Governor Whitmer was the victim of a plot by the FBI that they roped other people into. And so then, that justifies everything. That justifies dropping any investigation against Governor Whitmer because, didn't you hear some crazy right-wing Nazis wanted to kill Governor Whitmer because she's not white? Bad vibes. Welcome to Lawyer Status. Thank you. Instant Ace. Welcome to Lawyer Status as well. Memology 101. Welcome to Paralegal. Very appreciative having you guys as members. Thank you. Roll that beautiful baked bean footage says, hey, Nick, have you heard or would you be interested in looking at a case that was filed from American Frontline Doctors, case in Alabama regarding the syringe? Sure. I haven't heard of it. I don't know. But I'm always interested. I don't know how much to cover on it. That umbrella guy eats like a whale shark. Says, Nick, I have a friend who is emailing you about her kid being medically kidnapped. She needs help, and she would do a show with you over it. Ooh, those cases make me mad. I'll take a look at the email. Gray Jedi says, $2 Google credit expiring. Here you go. Hey, thanks, buddy. I'll take it. C. Warley 2007 says, pardon my suggestion, but I'd love a live stream of the January 6th defendant's current status, charges, and court documents. Uncivil only read initial indictments. There's a lot of them. I'll have to see. The first one was sentenced to like 8 months, I think. The first sentencing occurred 8 months. I'll have to see if I can do an update on it. Hyrule 47 says, do a barrel roll. Sorry, too soon. Harvey Weinstein says, I stalked the chat too, and other things. Hi, Nick. Jamie Morrow says, tweeted you about a channel using your voice for their video. Oh, Simaji is your Twitter handle. I know exactly what kind of, this is a fun thing. It happens with Asian channels where they, let's see. Yeah, this is great. I love this. Their videos do more views than mine. 'Cause I think what they do is they, this is great. Here, I'll show you guys. I think these things are like Bitcoin mining farms, okay? Is best I can figure out. So American News 24 Hours, and you'll find they do this to a whole bunch of people talking about these subjects. What they do is this. You can hear my voice. Accounts, 8 accounts so far that support pro audit 2020 tweets. And this includes the official Twitter account of the audit of Maricopa County. This is ongoing social media and big tech censorship of an issue that they have all sworn is not actually an issue. Let's talk. Now, it's got a check mark, but it's not a real check mark. They hide this. So they do this. This is the thing. This is my video that they took, right? Now let's check this one out. Who's this?
You have so much information about Maricopa County's audit that no one is talking about except you. And it is so imperative that people understand what's really going on there.
Okay, so there's that one.
It was kind of this island feeling, right? Alone in the room. I don't know about you, but at times I felt like I was the only one in the room. It's easy to begin to question yourself in a world
I recognize that voice. I don't know who that is, but this is what they do. This is what they do. So these are all their videos. But let's go back to the beginning of their videos. Aha! Look at this shit. So what is this? Cow milking? The fuck? This is how these channels develop. So they get a bunch of they get their watch hours up to get monetized, right? They put out enough videos to get their 4,000 hours, get their subscribers, get monetized, and then suddenly they make a switch. Bam. And then look what happens. Then they employ what I believe they're doing. It did not get hacked. It did not get hacked at all. Trust me. This has been a thing that's been going on for a while. They do this, then they employ bot farms, right? To pump up the videos. They pump up the views on these videos with scripts and a fucking farm of virtual machines or whatever. And that's how they do it. And then they seed that in, and then they reap just a shitload of money from YouTube doing just all these videos. 15 hours ago, 14 hours ago, 13 hours ago, 12 hours ago, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. I mean, they are pumping views into these things. And it's outright theft. It's outright theft. The problem is, once anyone, notice what they do, they take it from all different creators. So if any one creator files a copyright complaint against this channel, they'll take down all the videos immediately, and it'll go dark, and then they'll just do it on another one. Comments versus views. Okay, let's take a look at mine. Talk about this. Comments. So there are comments. Oh, maybe they're not just bots. It's amazing. By the way, this is my money that they're taking. My video on this has 21,000 views. So, you know, they just take it. Now, if I were like a music production company, I would get to take their money. But I don't get to do that for some reason. I don't know why that is. I should get to take the money. Now, don't flag the video. I'll send it to my partner manager. But yeah, this is great because this is, you know, it's fun because all of our views on this political side got chopped down after January, and these channels are actually a part of why. These channels are a part of why this gets chopped down. And when people point them out, you know, the channel will get taken down. Like, again, I'm going to report it, and then, you know, it'll probably get taken down. But I don't want them to take it down. I just want the money. Like, I don't care if they put my fucking voice on something. Just tell me so I can get the money. What do I care if the channel's up? It's just my work. But anyway. So there's that. Let's see. Thank you, Jamie Morrow. I'll look into it. I got to talk to my partner manager about it. Nashville Prime says, "What's your take on the Ed Buck situation?" What is the Ed Buck situation? I don't even know. Democratic donor Ed Buck is convicted in deaths of 2 men he offered drugs for sex. Wow. Convicted in meth overdose deaths of a couple people. Well, I guess good. I haven't seen it though. This is the first I've heard of it. Shagaval says, "Just imagine it's surprise kinky time." Scotta Big Johnson says, "When you float on your back in the ocean, do people scream shark?" No, they wonder why the pyramids of Giza are floating on the ocean. Shagaval says, "Jacob the Neckbeard Bellington." Shagaval says, "At least we are effing. It's embarrassing, but what the hell?" Cody Duffin says, "Carrie Strug finished competition on one leg. Video and ats on Twitter." I remember seeing that video. Eldon Bailing says, "Check out the tweet I DM'd you. AOC got wrecked. We did that." Jackson Kai says, "So they found a way to go to do debtor's prison. I'd ask how this is legal, but been here long enough to know it's either is or the court will do it anyway." Toto Vader says, "The police report was filed by Amber Shemesh. That's Kelly's attorney. Her own attorney filed a police report. That's odd, right?" Maybe? I don't know. Maybe she reached out and said, "Hey, can you please file a police report? I'm getting beat here." Lil Meme says, "I hear hoorah Texas a lot, but between Sophie and Vic case, courts sound like a complete sham." Most people don't interact with the courts in tech. Like, that's the trick. Jackson Kai, welcome to Paralegal Status. Gaku says, "At this point, it really sounds like family court exists to be a revenue generator for the state." It's a revenue generator for attorneys. The state, not so much. Like, the state doesn't make a lot off of family court. The filings, lots of the filings are reduced fees and stuff like that. So the money goes to the lawyers. Mr. Security says, why is Russia banned from the Olympics? Doping. Back in Sochi in 2014 or whatever. Lots of doping. Woo! Russians cleaned house on medals that year. Justine Harmon says, thank you for being the only fair and balanced person here and with legal experience. Much appreciated. Look, I try. Not applicable says, lots of fancy tyrants that don't like freedom in chat. Stephen F. says, Ben Shapiro is the most measured take on the Spears saga that I've heard yet. On another note, Britney Spears' dad would be idolized in the Muslim world. Joshua Sanabria says, look up Tim Amon, currently being represented by former Washington State Supreme Court Justice, Attorney General of Washington, suing to have him barred from politics for life. Okay. Can you email that to me? I don't know what. I'm not going to remember that. Stephen F. says, white elephant in the room. Uncovering election fraud may not be enough to reverse results. Enough to demo that one half of Congress seated illegitimately. Now, that's the interesting thing. Can it reverse the results of the presidential election? Not really. Can it reverse the results in the Senate? Maybe. There are actual mechanisms for states to recall their senators if they find out that they're not legitimate. That's different than the presidency. So, yeah. Eldon Bainling says, I, Nick Ricada, hereby do hereby apologize to chat. Not true. Tet says, hot sauce and chicken belongs on pizza. F pineapple. Horatius 763 says, are anti-white quotas and discrimination and rhetoric, etc., against the Civil Rights Act? It depends on how the quotas are written. And if we have a non-anti-white judiciary, would it be illegal? It really depends on how they're written. Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes no. The courts have determined that having a pro-diversity hiring program that is not facially opposed to any particular race is okay. So basically affirmative action. But that is okay. But it depends. If the discrimination means the prevention of hiring of a particular race, namely like whites in this case, then that is not okay. So it's all in how they actually put forward the practices. Wolfgang Deo says, I built a wall, a great wall. Get over it. Go jump it. Get on the other side of this wall. I don't care how you do it. Catapult, throne, walking. Eldon Bainling says, I, Nick Ricada, do hereby declare all mods are gay. Incidentally, Eldon Bainling is not a mod at all, and I like StarCraft now. Warhammer was lame. Weird. Wolfgang Deo says, Eldon Bainling, how dare you spread that misinformation? You're the gayest mod of them all. StarCraft was good, but no, Warhammer tops them all. Solemn says, I'm Nick Cicada of Cicada Law, a small law firm in long time no chat, buddy. Oh, God, I hate cicadas. I hate them. Wolfgang Deo says, the people reached likely would not have found you. Would be nice. American News 24-hour if they link to your video. Definitely get the money, Bainling. Horatius 763 says, have you commented on ADL becoming official censors? No. Through PayPal or something? I've only seen periphery stuff. I haven't looked into it. Justine Harmon says, here's a few bucks to not allow the glare or without a crystal ball to use your streams to clean subscribers. They can, if they want to do whatever they're going to do is what they're going to do. I don't really care. I don't know who they are. Don't watch their content. And, if they want to talk about me, they can talk about whatever. It doesn't bother me. Okay, I think that's about it. Right? That one guy says fashy, not fancy. Okay. I don't remember what that's from, but I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. There you go, guys. I did show my shirt, yes. That's the show for tonight. Look, go enjoy yourself, your friends, your families. Have a good time. Don't let too much of this stuff get you down. Don't let the Sophie stuff get you down. Don't let the political stuff get you down too much. and enjoy everything. Always enjoy what you're up to. That's my advice. Twitter has that's my closing advice for the day. I will be over on Twitch. We'll do some sort of movie stream tonight. Again, the Doki Doki. I hate visual novels with a passion. And tonight would normally be a new movie night. So I'll make up the Doki Doki stuff when I get the fortitude back to sit through a bunch of weeby narration. So, all right, guys, catch y'all later. Hope you have a good night. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law